Welcome to Counterculture Wise, a Stormcat production, with your hosts Melanie Hope and James Monis. The views expressed on this podcast are those of the hosts, our guests, and the dog, and do not necessarily reflect the views of any of our platforms, our advertisers, or any other dog.
As you listen today, please remember, we are so much more than a podcast. All of our stories we discuss are linked in our show notes on counterculturewise.com. Visit there for commentary, guest photos and links, animations, and fun merchandise.
If you have a story idea or would like to be a guest on our show, contact us via our website. You can also follow us on Twitter, Gab, Instagram, Facebook, and all over social media where we'll post memes, cat pics, and commentary that gets us booted off on a regular basis.
If you're watching our live show, hit like and join the chat. If you're listening dead, well, you can still hit like, share, subscribe, and comment, but please stop voting Democrat. And there is Max meowing us into another Counterculture Wise podcast.
Indeed I am, dear mother.
He's such a good boy.
He's a good boy.
There's a cardinal right outside the window, Max, so that should keep you busy for the rest of the show. Well, ladies and gentlemen, it's a beautiful sunny day here deep in the heart of Texas. We had an amazing Sunday celebrating the 150th anniversary of our church, Oak Grove. That is no small feat. Lots of people there, lots of kids, very exciting. Had some breakfast burritos, as we do here in Texas. And we have a lot to talk about today.
We do.
I am your hostess with a gracious heart. I am so grateful for those of you who are listening in today. And here with me is my one and only, my best friend. He is indeed my co-host, happens to be my husband, and
as it turns out,
my sweet babu, Mr. James Monis.
I had the worst experience at a hotel the other day.
Uh-oh.
It was just so darn noisy, and the next day I couldn't find my suitcase or my toothbrush. I'm not staying at the Tropicana anymore.
I would not recommend that, no. No.
Well, yeah, that's our lead story, folks. An iconic casino and hotel that helped define the Strip for most of its existence.
Yeah.
Because it was the first major hotel you'd come to in coming in from
And we
Los
could
Angeles
see it from
usually.
our front yard when we lived there.
Yeah, and so the Tropicana...
They sent it off in style, though.
They
you
did.
have to hand it to them.
I will give them credit. They did not skimp on the celebration. So you're going to see some of the fireworks display. If you haven't seen it already, whoever did it, they were geniuses.
If you're listening and not seeing, I do recommend looking it up because that was a heck of a display. It was,
there was some fan shot video, but I think this one we're showing was professionally shot because it shows all of the fireworks, including a sign, a couple of different logos of the Trop over the years. Bally's, which is the owner of the current owner of the casino, and they're going to put a Bally's hotel there. The Oakland A's, who are the whole reason this thing came down, which is I'm kind of sad about it, not because these kinds of changes are inevitable. I know it was upset initially. The thing that bothers me about it is not that they imploded the Tropicana, it's that they really didn't need to. There was a perfectly good space, just like half a mile down Tropicana
that
Boulevard.
Also wouldn't have completely halted traffic like the stupid stadium that's like practically across the street.
For those of you unfamiliar with the Tropicana space, it is on the Strip. It's right on it, and it's at the corner of Tropicana Boulevard, and it's the first major intersection when you come into Las Vegas.
Yeah, if you're coming from the
on
airport,
the Strip, if you're coming from the airport
the first
area.
major intersection.
It's the southernmost part of the Strip, across from the another way stupid, outdated casino, the Excalibur. And this
I'm
hotel,
really surprised the Excalibur still stands. And
that's
took
where
down
they
the
should have
Trop.
done it. But anyway,
Yeah, because the Excalibur is a hot
it's
mess.
it's a dump. But then again, Tropicana hadn't been improved on in over 10 years, and anybody who has been to the Strip in the last 10 years will tell you that if you don't do any improvements or any remodels at least every 5 to 8 years, you're going to fall behind, and that's what happened.
10 years in Vegas is an eternity.
It's an eternity. And the last time they did any improvements to this hotel was in 2009 to 2011 when they built a tower. But anyway, this hotel, the Tropicana, it opened in April of 1957, April 4th of 1957, and closed April 2nd, 2024. On a side note, we came to Vegas in April with the intention of visiting the Tropicana one last time. We missed it by 1 day.
1 day.
We arrived on the 3rd. They had closed on the 2nd, and they started demolishing it pretty much immediately. But the two big towers that they'd built over the years, those came down last. And as you can see, if you are watching the video, they spared no expense. Now, the reason they're doing this is to build a new ballpark for well, they still are the Oakland A's.
So is California going to have any sports teams left? I mean, we've pretty much taken all of them.
No.
I keep saying we like we still live there.
Yeah. Well, I've lived everywhere. Honestly, and I still consider Las Vegas to be home in a way. But they did get the Oakland Raiders and the Oakland A's. That's pretty funny.
Yeah.
But they still have the San Francisco Giants and the San Francisco 49ers.
Well,
so
for
they've still
now.
got that going on. Poor them. Anyway, go Mariners.
Those fireworks that make the logos and stay for a while, I've
Yeah.
never seen those before. Those are insane.
Those were acts of genius, but
I'd like to know what makes those
the
work.
Trop logos, the Bally's logo, the A's, and of course the iconic Las Vegas sign all got lit up during this event, and it's amazing what can take. And like I said, 2 days short of 68 years.
Oh, they didn't even let it live out at 68 years?
No, they opened on April 4th and closed on...
Oh, that's so sad.
So 67.
They should have let it, give it those 2 days and let it had that anniversary.
Or they could have let it stay for another 75 and just left it alone.
Well, there's that. But
So anyway, I think when it first opened, it was the tallest hotel in Vegas.
Was it? Okay,
and
that's
it was
interesting.
also one of the most glamorous. And
yeah, it's not anymore.
No, it wasn't anymore. When we went,
No.
it was a throwback, just like the Riviera. Just before they imploded that one, I went in there and it was a graveyard.
Wait, they imploded the Riviera? I missed that.
Yeah, the Riviera's gone.
Oh, sad.
2016.
Really?
Yeah, and the irony is
not remember
the
that.
irony is they closed that down and imploded it to make room for convention space, which
That's
they changed
right,
their mind.
that's right,
They
and they
changed their
never
mind
used
about
it.
and so there's just a little bit of it left that was used for convention space. The rest of it is a big portion of it is still available to build a hotel if anybody wants to do that.
Yeah.
But they're
going to take down the Mirage, or are they going to refurnish it?
No. The Mirage, the
Refurbish.
building, the Mirage is going to stay, but they've changed they closed it down temporarily for like a year and a half, and then they're going to open it as the Hard Rock, and they're building a second tower.
Yeah, giant
that's shaped like a guitar. And this is not the same ownership as the older Hard Rock casino in Vegas. It's a different.
It's just a franchise. Yeah.
This is actually
All right, I think they're
Native
getting ready
American
to take it down.
tribe. It's the first time a tribe is going to own a
Fireworks
casino on the
stopped.
Strip.
I think we're getting ready to take her down.
All right, well, let's.
It's,
If I were wearing a hat, I would take it off to the Trop. Oh yeah, there was also plunger, like dynamite plunger graphic.
There goes the tower. Goodbye, Tropicana.
What took 60 years to build is now gone in a few minutes.
And there goes the second one.
So, this place has not only just a history for Vegas, but a personal history for me. It was, I think, one of the first hotels we visited when we actually moved to Las Vegas. First time we went to the Strip.
Yeah, that and the Flamingo, which I'm sure they're going to get rid of soon.
No, I hope not. The Flamingo is where we celebrated our wedding.
Yep.
That one's not as likely because it's central to the Strip. It's
But it
literally,
is kind of outdated.
it is outdated. They do need to update it a bit. But hotels changing ownership or being torn down and rebuilt, that's such a Las Vegas thing anymore. This one upset me because I still believe it was needless.
Yeah, this
And-
one stung. I
Yeah.
remember when I watched the Kingdom be taken down.
Mm-hmm.
That I don't know, it stung. It just there was something
Well,
about it.
I will say that the two stadiums that replaced it are marvelous, okay? I don't know what company owns the naming rights right now. I think it's Lumen Field for the Seahawks and
Yes,
I
the
think
other
T-Mobile
thing.
Park
They
for the Mariners.
they make the taxpayers pay for it and then they name it after some
They
company.
should call it Taxpayer Stadium.
Well, I'd rather just be, Mariners and Seahawks Stadium. Why can't they
My-
call them by the team who plays
My
there?
preference, if a company buys naming rights, let's just say Chase Bank. Okay, let's say Chase Bank buys Seahawks Stadium. I would have no problem with the official name being Seahawks Stadium, sponsored by Chase.
Yeah.
And then the radio announcers say that at the beginning and a couple times during the broadcast, but the rest of the time they just say Seahawks Stadium.
Right.
That would make sense to me. And then, they'd have ads for the bank or whatever. I'm just using them
But
as
the
an example.
taxpayers still pay more, and even those of us who voted no repeatedly, I mean, we voted it down repeatedly, and the state said, you're getting it anyway.
Yeah, that happened with the Mariners Stadium. I don't remember about the Seahawks Stadium. But anyhow, another personal connection to Tropicana is that I was actually in a production of Jesus Christ Superstar at that hotel. And this was played at the hotel, the main stage where all these legends had performed before. Sammy
You
Davis
should have
Jr.
sent me that picture. I would have loaded it. The
Oh,
marquee. That was pretty cool.
yeah. Well, we wanted a photo of I did send you a photo of the hotel from back in the 1970s.
Yeah, that's our thumbnail.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, I was sad to see it go, but on the other hand, like I said, they did updates. They opened it in 1957, 1959, 62, 64, 79, 86, and then 2009 to 2011. That's an eternity. Okay, every time they do it, and they switched their emphasis. They were initially a luxury hotel, but as time wore on, it got a little more outdated. They decided to market to middle class people, which actually turned out to be a successful move for a while. But they couldn't keep up with the changing times, and it really, if you went in there, I could actually hear disco music playing when I walked in there. It was so outdated. People still having fun. People still enjoying themselves.
Well, I mean, you
but-
think of Vegas, you automatically think, the Tropicana. You think
Right.
of that. That's like the kind of go-to thing when you think of a big.
Either the
glitzy-
Trop or the Flamingo. I mean, you think about the
Yeah.
ones that have been there a long time, and now very few of them are.
Yeah.
Flamingo's about the oldest one now,
Yeah.
and they're still owned by Caesars, which is no longer Bally's. Bally's is a separate company from Caesars. I didn't know this until a year ago, but they spun off. They're
So
still.
do you think the MGM is next? They just redid the Lion.
I don't think MGM is going to go anywhere because MGM, any of them that are owned by MGM or Caesars are likely to stick around. Okay, that includes the Excalibur, which is a dump.
Yeah, they've done nothing because the MGM they redid it
Yeah.
redid
Well,
it.
the first time I visited MGM, well, no, let me say that. First time I visited Vegas, I was a kid. That was called the Marina Hotel. And
Marina.
the large part that goes north and south, that was the hotel. They added onto it when MGM bought it. Now, the original MGM Grand was what became Bally's and is now called the Horseshoe. They're on
Horse what?
Horseshoe. I was very, very careful.
Very
how I said that.
careful about that
Yeah.
one.
So these all, like I said, these hotels all change names. I mean, there were at least 5 or 6 name changes in on the major hotels when we lived there.
Yeah.
The Sahara became the SLS, and then the Sahara again. The Las Vegas Hilton became the LVH, and then the Westlake, North Lake, South Lake.
I remember hiking. We stayed at
Westgate.
Westgate. Yeah, we stayed at the Excalibur. That was my very first impression of Vegas.
Oh dear.
My mom had just written a series of medieval novels, so she really wanted to stay at the Excalibur, probably because she had no idea
What a dump it was, yeah.
what a dump it was. Anyway, but there was a big Star Trek exhibit at. Was it the the Hilton?
I think it was the Hilton.
Yeah. So knowing what we know now that we've lived there, my mom did not realize just how big that strip is. And the Hilton is not quite on the strip. It's on the opposite side and then up a street or two.
Yeah.
And
it's not.
So mom's looking at the map and she thinks that city blocks are the same as a block in Vegas. Now you think about just walking from one side to the other of the Bellagio. Mm-hmm. I mean, that's half a mile?
It's a good walk.
And Caesars is even bigger. So she's like, oh, yeah, we'll just walk there. You know, fast forward 8 hours later when we're all dying and it's, 1 billion degrees and we're all at each other's throats and we're thirsty and everything. So let's suffice it to say we got the bus on the way home. But we called it the Baton Death March.
Yeah.
Because she was determined and my mom walks very fast. So he had me and my baby brother and his soon-to-be wife and my sister before she was married. And, we were all following mom and, my stepdad. And, by the time...
He'd had it.
By the
he doesn't even go back. He doesn't even like Vegas.
He wouldn't go to Vegas. That's why Jim got a trip when my mom... she got her... Well, basically, she got her death benefits early because, you get a diagnosis like she did. They're just like, here, have it. And she wanted to go to Hawaii, and Sam didn't want to spend the money because he wanted to fix up the house. So she said, well, I want to go see the Beatles Love. And Sam said, well...
The Cirque du Soleil show that was at the Mirage.
It was amazing.
Yeah, it was great.
And it was at the Mirage. And Sam didn't want to go. So, I get it. He hated Vegas, and it's not for everybody. So she said, well, can I take Mel? And he's like, yeah. And then she goes... Can I take Jim? Now,
she loved me. I don't know why.
We had just met. Jim and I...
Yeah, we met in January, and
when
we were...
This was April?
It was October when we...
Oh, was it October?
October was when we went, but in order to do that, I mean, we only knew each other about 6 months at the time the subject came up. I think we had just gone to see Ringo at the...
Yeah, that's right. We got both our moms to go see Ringo.
And my mom had quite the impression of her mom.
She had a brain tumor. What can I say?
Yeah.
Anyway, so those were my memories of Vegas. But after we went and we stayed at the Mirage, and Jim almost proposed to me in the pool, and I could hear the music swell.
Oh, I could too.
I'm like, no, don't do it. Don't do it. We're in a swimming pool. Just don't do it.
No, I've just as a postscript. We went hiking in the woods in Kent, Washington, and that's when I proposed to her because I knew that was one of her favorite places to be. It was out in nature.
Yes, so, and it was perfect.
But yeah,
and
then we came back a couple years later, and we...
It's not there.
What's not there?
All the woods, they're not there anymore.
Oh, yeah, I know. They were developing it, and I was actually getting a little bit agitated at that.
Because we couldn't find the trailhead.
We couldn't find the trail because half of it was missing.
Yeah.
It's all condos now.
Yeah, it's sad.
But yeah, I mean, the hotel I stayed at when I first visited Vegas, the Landmark, it's gone.
Oh yeah, not very well named. It's not a landmark anymore.
Well, there actually is a landmark sign, lit up sign right there at the bus station, right in front of where it used to be.
Yeah.
Which I think is amusing.
We never did make it to the sign graveyard. We're gonna have to do that now because I bet the Trop is gonna end up there.
The Neon Museum. Yeah, we're gonna go there. We're going back next year to celebrate the Marine Corps 250th birthday and Melanie's birthday. I'm not gonna say which number.
8250.
8250. But the skyline of the city of Las Vegas has changed constantly, so this one hurt a little more than most. It's not
Yeah,
like when they took
it
down the
did.
Riviera, which I didn't have. That was another one. The Riviera was a luxury hotel when it first opened.
It was.
That was where the rich people went. Was the Riviera? My
Yeah.
grandparents used to go there when they wanted to. My grandpa was a business owner and fairly well off, and he would go there to Vegas when he went to go be to the Riviera. So, and when I went, I only went there once before it closed down, like once. Probably about a month before it closed down. I thought, it's a nice looking steakhouse. I think I'll take Melanie there, and we never went, and it closed down. So
Yeah, that's true.
yeah.
Yeah, there was a place up the road from where we live now that we kept saying, "Oh, we need to go there," and now it's something different. Things changed so fast.
Yeah. It's not. I don't. They're trying to be too many things at once, I think.
Maybe.
And then-
You just stick to what you know, like the Red Lotus in Auburn.
Yeah.
I think that's still there.
Well,
I don't
might
think they've
find
ever
out
changed
someday if
anything.
we ever get back to Washington State.
Best war wonton
Yeah, it's really good.
I've ever had.
But I love Las Vegas. I always will love Las Vegas.
That always have a special place in our heart.
It's sad to see this happen. But there's one part of this I haven't talked about, and why I'm a little bit concerned, because the Oakland A's have not finalized a financing deal for all of this.
Ew.
Now, they're going to be in Sacramento for a few years, and chances are it's going to go down exactly as planned, because there's a lot of people with a lot of money they can throw at lawmakers and that kind of thing, so that's not going to be a problem. But what would happen if they decided, hey, our Sacramento audience is really good, and this is a nice ballpark. Why should we blow all that money and do all that? What if they stay in Sacramento, and then we're stuck with a demolished hotel that didn't need to be demolished, that was iconic and could have just been remodeled?
Yeah, they'll build something there.
Anyway, Bally's is building a hotel, and they're planning to call it Bally's. I say you're full of it. Please just call it the new Tropicana, or Tropicana 2000, or
Trop 2.
Troppity bop bop bop. I don't care. Just something with a trop in it.
Tropicana.
So yeah, this hotel. Oh, let's see. Just a few more things about it, then we'll move on. One of the longest running shows in Vegas was Folies Bergère, and it was the classic showgirl show.
With the feathers and
that pretty much disappeared about 10, 15 years ago. But this Folies Bergère ran there for a long time. They had a comedy club there, Laugh Factory. There's a lot of things that happened there. But yeah, being in a show literally at the Tropicana, where all these great performers had performed over the decades, it just meant a lot to me. It was a one-off. It was for charity, but it was so fun, so much fun, and they won't be able to take that away from me. So.
No, you can't take that away from me. No, you can't take.
Well, let's see who performed there. Let's see. Louis Armstrong, Benny Goodman, Eddie Fisher, Jane Mansfield, Siegfried and Roy.
Of course, Siegfried and Roy.
There was near the end. It was they had Purple Rain, REIGN, which is a Prince tribute, and a Michael Jackson tribute show, and Gladys Knight, Sammy Davis, Wayne Newton. Raiding the Rock Vault, which is a great show.
We got to see it. Was it at the Trop when we saw it, though?
We saw it when it was at the LVH, a.k.a. the Westgate.
Oh, this is a sad picture with the chair in the middle of the...
Oh, wow, a chair without a slot machine in front of it.
Yeah.
And I mean, it is in the middle of a...
Completely cleared out with a milk crate on top. Oh, that is heartbreaking. That hurts my heart. Look at that. All the tables are stacked up, and it's like, this is it.
Oh, my favorite comic, Bobby Slayton, played there.
This is it. Wow.
Yeah,
Why would
it's-
anybody pay $375 for that picture? That's not a picture you would hang anywhere. Some of these other pictures are fantastic.
Yeah. But it was a fun place to go, but it was outdated and hopefully
A lot of memories.
yeah, a lot of memories for a lot of people. A lot of people.
Yeah. Well, let's move on
Yeah,
to something else, as we must. We need to come up with a thing. You know, the rantable question of the week.
Hey.
And my rantable question today is, are these the men we need? Are they? So
Are
let's
they
talk
really?
about Cackle's McKnee pads for a bit.
Ow!
I cannot
Ouch.
take credit for that.
Ouch!
I cannot take credit for that.
Oh,
That was a.
even I wouldn't call her that.
That was a Clavin original there. So there are no E's in Clavin. Cuckoo. Yeah.
By
Cackle's
the way,
McKnee
if you ever
pads.
get a chance to read any of Andrew Clavin's books,
His books are great.
or listen to his podcast,
At the very least, listen to his intro because he
his
will have
intros
you
are hilarious.
rolling.
They're comic gold. They're comic gold, especially if you lean a certain way politically. But
Yeah.
but he's just plain funny anyway.
Yeah.
just plain
Well, I
funny
mean, he was a
anyway.
comedy writer for years and years in Hollywood until
That's
they
true.
found out he.
He wrote films
He was
until he
religious, yeah.
decided to show his colors, and then they
Whoopsie
because
doodle.
Hollywood doesn't like conservatives.
Hollywood doesn't like anybody who differs in an opinion in any way. Anyway.
Anyhow,
Kamala dropped a new ad, and they're trying really hard. And this is what I think is funny. They're actually saying this out loud. They are trying to woo men. Now, if there's one thing I know about men is they're not into woo. Men do the woo. They
Yeah.
don't be the woo.
We don't-
Okay,
we
are
don't-
the
no.
woo-ees. Men are the woo-ers. So if you're trying to woo men, you're not exactly going to get what I
You're-
would call men.
you're not going to get men. You're going to get men.
Yeah, and boy,
So,
howdy do
yeah.
they. So I can't even give words to
This is a cringe
you.
fest.
You just got to watch it.
I'm a man.
I'm a man.
I'm a man, man.
And I'm man enough.
I'm man enough to enjoy a barrel-proof bourbon.
Neat.
Man enough to cook my steak rare.
Man enough to deadlift 500, then braid the out of my daughter's hair.
Okay, remember that. He's man enough to deadlift that and braid the out of his daughter's hair. Remember that.
You think I'm afraid to rebuild a carburetor? I eat carburetors for breakfast.
Oh, that's not all you eat for breakfast, honey.
No, definitely
You
not.
eat a lot more
You-
for
You've
breakfast.
had both of the burritos I had,
Yeah.
some pancakes to boot.
I think you eat the entire car.
I ain't afraid of bears.
That's what bear hugs are for.
I'll tell you another thing I sure as shit am not afraid of. Women.
I'm not afraid of women.
I'm not afraid of women. They want
He's the one on
you're
the
not
back
afraid
of
of
the
women, why aren't they
car
the
looks
first-
like a woman.
The first
Where'd
one
they get
said,
him
I'm
from?
not afraid of
Isn't
women.
he the guy from the Walking Dead?
I have no idea.
to
But
control their
the,
bodies. I say go for it.
They want to use IVF to start a family? I'm not afraid of families.
And that is buying into the lie.
that Trump is somehow against
Yeah,
IVF and against
he's
abortion.
not. In fact, he's
not.
totally pro. You can find any speech he's given. He's all for it. He wants to start families. Hello.
They want to be childless cat ladies?
Have all the cats you want.
Woman wants to be president?
Well, I hope she has the guts to look me right in the eye and accept my full-throated endorsement.
Oh, that's not the only
Full-throated,
thing,
baby.
you full throat baby.
Oh, wow.
Oh, look at him. Hi, boys. There's no way that guy's ever touched a horse, much less,
Well,
he might have
Well.
touched a horse, but not in the way he should.
Because I'm man enough to support women.
Man enough to know what kind of donuts I like.
Man enough to admit I'm lost, even when I refuse to ask for directions.
So all these things that they're using to say they're man enough are all really, really feminine things. Have you noticed that?
you know, I think there's more than a few brokebacks in there.
Man
Just
enough
to
to
say
not
that.
ban young women from reading Little Women.
Or one of those pants.
Nobody's banned young women from reading Little Women, and nobody's banned any books. They just said we don't want porn in the classroom. That's not banning books. That's just not being a pedophile groomer.
Books that the sisters like.
I'm man enough to raw dog a flight.
Oh,
What
I
does that
bet you
even
you
mean?
raw dog a few flights there, baby.
It sucked.
Even the horse is like, Yeah.
Wilbur, stop.
Do you know what it means to
lying.
raw dog a flight? I think we talked about that on the show before.
I forget.
Okay, so you fly somewhere that takes several hours, and you do bring no entertainment.
Oh,
you
that's
don't use.
right.
You don't bring any
Oh.
snacks. You don't drink.
See, anybody who would do that is
water,
suspect
nothing.
to me. That's right.
Yeah, it's just why you're not a monk. You don't need to. Yeah, it's ridiculous.
Not worth it.
I'm man enough to be emotional in front of my wife.
In front of my kids.
In front of my horse.
That was cute. That was cute. Okay.
Well played.
I'll
I
give it
think that
credit.
sound was added afterwards. I'm pretty sure the horse didn't do that.
I'm man enough to tell you that I cry at Love Actually.
Good
I'm sure you do, honey.
Will Hunting.
West Side Story. That and Predator.
And I'm sick of so-called men domineering, belittling, and controlling women just so they can feel more powerful.
That's not how my mama raised me.
I love women.
I love women who support their families.
Women who decide not to have families.
Women who take charge.
And I'm man enough to help them win.
Did he just call Walls a woman too? I'm mad enough to help them win.
Just saying. Because the new
So,
masculinity is
Could
the,
we be
the
more
new,
cringy?
the-
Seriously,
the new
could we be more cringy?
apparently the new masculinity is exemplified by Tim Walz and Doug Emhoff.
Well, hold on just a minute, folks,
Why?
because you
Why?
need to learn where these men came from. Come with me to a post by Bad Hombre on X, formerly known as Twitter. As many of you know, Jimmy Kimmel's writer Jacob Reed directed the ad for Kamala Harris. The ad
That
features
figures.
what are presented as everyday male voters, explaining why supporting Kamala Harris is the masculine thing to do. However, none of the men in the ad are actual regular voters. They are all paid actors. You think?
You think?
Moreover, their real-life circumstances differ significantly from the individuals they portray in the ad. Here are their stories. Waylon McQueen is a far-left pro-Antifa comedian and actor who has, until now, found limited success. He does improv gigs at the Upright Citizens Brigade in Los Angeles. In a Twitter post from 2022, he explains what white privilege is and tells you why you need to acknowledge your white privilege. As of 2024, he is single.
And for the rest of his life.
Surprise. Surprise. Lanre Idowu is an immigrant from Nigeria. He is also an actor who works at the DC-based Octet Productions. This is our weightlifting boy who braids the out of his kid's
Yeah.
hair. He has many intimate pictures with the Obamas and the Bidens. Idowu, who is bi, has done gay-for-pay movies and nude solo shoots. In the Men for Kamala ad, he says he is man enough to effing braid his daughter's hair, but the only problem is he doesn't have a daughter. He isn't braiding anyone's hair.
Aw.
Mike Leffingwell, a gay man, which one is he, do you think, also works at the Upright Citizens Brigade where McQueen works. He is an acting coach, cartoon writer for Netflix and DreamWorks, and an actor in TV commercials. On his public Instagram page, he showcases his participation in his latest project, the Men for Kamala ad.
Actor.
Winston Carter, the heavyset fellow in the ad who claims to be a mechanic and rancher, lives in Los Angeles with Taft Broadcasting Company.
He looks
Oh,
like
sorry,
William Taft.
lives
so that,
in Los Angeles, signed with Taft.
he's built like William Taft, so that works.
Yeah, he has found limited success in the acting world, mainly as an extra in films and as a character in the low-budget superhero film Spaghetti
Spaghetti
Man.
Man.
Now that does fit him. Tony Ketchum, the tough, rugged, bearded grandpa in his garage and the Men for Kamala ad, is also an actor. He now mainly does low-budget independent films like Carbots, where he played the role of Peepaw. Tony is unmarried in real life. In 2001, he played the extra role of alcoholic consumer in the movie Ghost World.
Ghost World was a good
So
movie.
this was every bit as fake
Fake
as Kamala.
Yeah.
Fakeity,
fakey,
fake,
chocolate
fake,
shaky.
fake. But it gets better.
Better?
Oh, it gets so much better.
How much better?
If there wasn't enough cringe in that ad, wait until you hear the Tim song.
Love sinking into the couch, cold beer in my mouth, rooting for the twins and Tim.
It's just, you can't make this up. They think this is going to get them voters.
Keeping those edges trim and Tim.
Honest to God, I thought this was like a Babylon Bee spoof.
Helping Kamala
and Tim. No, we don't. It's so cringe.
Oh my god.
Oh, I can't believe that anybody would watch that and think, yep, yes, sir, that is who I want to vote for. I didn't think they could get any worse, but they did. So this is, I mean, if there's an award for the most cringe campaign, that is the one and only time I think that Kamala would get any votes. Considering she hasn't gotten a single vote in her entire life so far.
Well, she's about to get some.
Fake ones.
Tim Walz, there's some footage of him hunting or trying to load his rifle, and the man is literally dressed like Elmer Fudd, and plus he looks like Elmer Fudd. Anyway, before you put on the outfit, if you could bring that up real quick.
I'm gonna try.
I know it wasn't planned, but I mean, he's out hunting wabbits.
Yeah, he is.
It's
literally
really bad.
out hunting wabbits. I'm trying to find. Well, here's the outfit.
Yeah,
but I'm not finding a side by side. So let's see
I
here.
was hoping you would, but that's okay.
There was one going around on Twitter, but
Yeah, that's okay.
this is basically. I mean, what they're doing is they're superimposing his face onto Fudd himself, but you can see the outfits virtually identical. And then watching him struggle to try to figure out how to load his gun is hilarious. I mean, look at this. Look at this still shot.
Yeah.
The guy has no idea what he's doing. Struggling to load his gun. Insane. Oh, here we go. Here we got the full on Fudd here. It's okay. First of all, why are you wearing chaps? What is the purpose of that?
I'm not a hunter. That doesn't hunting doesn't interest me all that much.
I like fishing.
Fishing's okay.
And I like riding horseback, but I'm really not into. And I like shooting, but watch this.
Shooting's
This is him,
fun.
This is him trying to shoot the gun.
He's going to remove his.
Okay, I don't think you can hear this, but they're asking him what kind of gun it is, and he's giving them this long-winded story. It's a Beretta. What is? I'm trying to get this. But look at him. He can't figure out how to load it. Beretta 8400. I bought it when I was shooting a lot of trap.
Yeah, he's shooting some crap right now.
He's shooting crap, but yeah. That is a man who does not know his way around a gun. And what I love is when Kamala says, oh yeah, I'm a gun owner. And they're like, oh yeah, what kind? And she says, a Glock. Nobody who owns a Glock actually says that. Hey, Jim, what kind of gun do you have?
I own a Glock G19 4th gen 9mm pistol.
Yeah, see, that's how an actual gun owner answers.
It's a Glock. Which kind of Glock is it? There's like G everything.
Yeah, it's like, oh, Kamala, here you got your driver's license and you
yours.
bought a car. What'd you get? A sedan. It's like, what does that even mean? Yeah, so...
I got the Gen 4 instead of the Gen 5 because I like the grip on it better. And because the Gen 5 was the newer one, it cost about $100 more. And to me, it wasn't worth the extra money.
Well, I like shooting your gun more, and I like shooting my Hellcat, I'll be honest.
Yeah.
I mean, she's
good,
easy to carry
solid,
around.
I mean, it feels
easy
like an
to
extension
conceal.
when...
Yeah, and it doesn't have near the kickback.
Yeah, that's a drawback
It's just
with
that
your...
I got the Hellcat because she fit my hand better because I have
right.
teeny tiny hands.
It's important.
And I didn't, but the Glock, man, it shoots nice. We got to get back on the range. It's been a spell. In fact, we haven't fired a bullet since we've been here in Texas, of all places.
We need to get I want to get mine professionally cleaned first.
I think our friend up the road actually shoots in his backyard. We could probably do that here.
Yeah.
We have big enough yard. Have to lock up all the critters though, because
I
our dog is
wouldn't
dumb
feel
enough. She'd be like,
comfortable
"What are you doing, der?" She'd be.
It was the derp of death.
The
Anyway.
derp of day. Yeah. That's the other thing is, well, I guess those are technically hunting dogs, but they're all just like derp-de-dur in front of the people. He's Who was it that shot somebody during the hunting thing?
No, that was Dick Cheney.
Yeah,
I'm Dick Cheney. Yes, I'm the real Cheney.
yeah, he's gonna Cheney somebody. It's gonna happen. I just know it. All
Yeah,
right,
Dick Cheney
folks.
shot a lawyer, which is one of the few things I like about him. But anyway,
Well, folks, we're having a jolly good time making fun of everybody here. But before you do anything, drop everything and hit the like, hit the share, subscribe, share it with your friends, especially share it with your enemies. If you'd like to support this show, we are completely defunded on every platform. So head on over to
those are right-wing
counterculturewise.
fascist yahoos.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Shh, I'm pitching here. Shh.
Oh, sorry.
Positive stuff only. Head on over to counterculturewise.com where you can find multiple ways to support this show. You can donate directly, hit our subscribe star, buy our crap. There's all kinds of ways you can support this show, so head on over there. And be sure to like, share, subscribe. If you're listening on, say, Apple or any of the places where they allow you to rate how much you love us, give us a 200 gajillion star. You know what? No. Let's do 4 billion, just like Kamala. Do a 4 billion star review. If you're only having a decent time, you can do the 750 star review that Kamala will give the storm victims. And if you really, really are hating us and you think we're awful, don't do the chintzy 1-star thing because everybody does that. If you really want us to get the message, do 5 stars? That's pretty
I think
insulting.
5 stars, 4.5. But 5 would be best.
I mean, just if you really want to hit us where it hurts. And then, of course, at counterculturewise.com, if you have something you want to say, you want to get off your chest, you can fill out the ID10T form, and we will give it the attention it deserves. So let's head on into one of my favorite parts of this show.
Counterculture Wise is proud to present News of the Weird and Wonderful. Here are your hosts, Melanie Hope and Jim Monis.
News of the weird and wonderful.
Brought to you by us.
Brought to you by us. Me and him. That's us.
That's us.
Okay. This first one's a lot of fun.
Okay. First one's a little.
You go first.
All right.
Rock, paper, scissors.
Yeah, you win. The 31-year-long treasure hunt in France appears to have come to an end after official social media accounts announced the token needed to claim the grand prize has been found. Woo-hoo. The hunt on the trail of the golden owl was based on a book of riddles published in 1993. Participants had to solve 11 puzzles in the book and a 12th one that was hidden to find the exact location of the
I'd like to
token.
see this book. That'd be fun.
It would be fun. Don't go digging, warned a message on a channel on the chat app Discord with tens of thousands of followers. We confirm that the golden owl countermark was unearthed last night, the message read, unleashing a wave of sad and crying emojis. It is therefore
Thus, therefore, and
there plus
verily.
4, therefore useless to go digging. The solutions provided by those who claim to have unearthed the token are being vetted, the message said. The book, published in 1993 by author Regis Hauser and artist Michael Becker, built a cult-like following with a community of more than 200,000 players known as Owlers from France and abroad, according to the Hunt's official website. In a documentary posted on YouTube, Mr. Becker said he oversaw and financed the creation of the prize, an owl made of 3 kilograms of gold and 7 kilograms of silver with diamond chips on his face. There's a photo of it. That's really cool. Okay. Events where owlers could meet and share tips were organized across France. Mr. Hauser, the intellectual architect of the riddles, had initially used the pen name Max Valentine to prevent the most assiduous treasure hunters from seeking him out. He died in 2009, French newspaper Le Monde reported. He and Mr. I don't know why I had to pronounce it that way.
I
Le
don't
Monde.
know, but well, it's just like when somebody who even is pretending to be Hispanic has a Argentina,
Ecuador.
Yeah.
He and Mr. Becker decided to bury a replica of the owl, keeping the precious original in a safe place. Its value is estimated at £126,000, fans of the treasure hunt have said online.
So they only found the replica?
Yeah, they found the replica, but they win the actual, if I understand correctly, they win the actual.
Just in case somebody bumbled onto it?
Yeah. In order to claim the treasure, the winning player would need to submit the replica along with the answers to all the book's riddles. So yeah, they will get the prize. On Discord, members of the Hunt channel were quick to react to the news. The replica owl may have been found, with thousands of messages pouring in. Time to get the tissues out, one wrote. It is the end of an era, said another. According to 2120, blah, blah. A 2021 documentary, because 2120 hasn't happened yet.
Not yet.
The concept was inspired by The Masquerade, a 1979 book of riddles by Kit Williams, where hunters also had to solve several puzzles to find a golden wabbit. Okay.
Killed a wabbit.
Killed a
Be very, very quiet. Oh, great. Now Walls is going to be looking for it.
Very quiet. I'm hunting wabbits.
Poor little bunny.
All right. Now, I was hoping to get the proper pronunciation of this word for you.
Psilocybin.
All right. Cool. Say it, Melanie Hope. Get going.
Half the letters are silent. Well, apparently, there are depressed rats. I'm not sure how you know a rat is depressed, but if it's depressed, you can feed it shrooms and it'll be less depressed, apparently.
Well, that goes for people too, wouldn't it?
Well, look at him. Look how fat he is. That's a very.
That's
actually,
not
that's
a sad
she.
rat. That's a happy rat.
That's a very happy rat. This rat may be happy, but mushrooms of a different sort could be the key to making it really optimistic. So we're not just talking about less depressed. We're talking optimistic. Okay. Oh, man, the image covers half the article.
It said edited by Laura Simmons. I say edited badly.
Yeah.
Go ahead and click on the PDF
thing.
version and you can read that.
The original version. Here we are being so very
professional
here at Counterculture-wise.
Hey.
We tend to archive them just because. All right. Psilocybin makes rats more optimistic. Here we go. Psilocybin, let's make it a little bit bigger so we can see it. Puts rats in a more optimistic frame of mind long after any hallucinogenic effects would have passed. Okay, perhaps they're more optimistic because they've come down from the, whoa, what's going on? Whoa. And once you're out of that, you're like, okay, I'm better now. As a result, the author conclude the rats were more likely to remember their successes and forget their failures, motivating them to keep trying for rewards. That is a really esoteric study. I mean, how do you know?
They've run out of the big things.
Well, I mean, since Biden cured cancer, I guess we can focus on optimistic rats now.
Biden cured cancer. Al Gore invented the internet. You know, between those two things,
we're done.
We're done. We don't need to do the big.
And Obama ended racism. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
There is considerable evidence that psilocybin can be an effective treatment for some cases of depression that have failed to respond to standard approaches. Sometimes the drug may lead to more benefit for fewer side effects than first-line options. That doesn't mean it's good for everyone with depression, however, making it important to identify what makes someone a suitable candidate. Well, what makes us a suitable candidate? Research in the area has been hampered not only by laws against the psychedelic drug, but problems inherent in the treatment. As Monash University PhD student Beth Fisher told IFL Science, you can't do double-blind psilocybin trials on humans because they know if they got the drug or the control. Yeah. When the moon is in the seventh house. Like the bright colors and talking trees sort of give it away. That would scare the crap out of me. One way of addressing this is to give people microdoses that don't produce hallucinations, but these may not be sufficient to make a measurable difference. The alternative is to use animals who, even if they experience weird visions, are unlikely to get placebo effects for anything else.
It just seems a bit cruel.
I think so too.
I mean, you know, I get it, but at the same time, it just seems like these animals didn't ask for this.
Well, and our physiology is so different.
Yeah.
I can't imagine that it translates. I mean, all of those guinea pig studies turned out to be moot.
Right.
Because we're just so different.
Yeah.
And then when you do, studies like that on higher apes, that's worse because a lot of them are sentient and it's like, what do you do? Fisher, I just don't believe in animal testing at all. Fisher is working in a department that is at the cutting edge of testing psilocybin's effects on rats for mental health conditions. For her PhD on optimism, Hi, I've got a PhD in optimism. Okay, honey, and I've got a PhD
doctorate and give a crap. Let's roll.
Yeah, I got a PhD in sarcasm, so let's do this. A sample of 22 rats were given either a single dose of saline solution as a control or a psilocybin saline mix. Over the next fortnight, after the I've got to lift my pinky for this one. After the immediate influence had passed, the rats were offered the chance to touch their noses to one of two ports. One port was rewarded with a sugar treat, the other with nothing. The correct side swapped in a pattern the rats would struggle to solve. Fisher's rats were well fed, so hunger would not motivate them, and the experiment was done in an area accessible from their home cage. The rats had the choice of whether to play for sugar or to do the ratty equivalent of staying on the couch. The rats that had been given psilocybin played and won more than the saline-only rats.
How much more, though?
How much more? Yeah, I mean, if it's like
that's like not.
that's really important need to know information.
Yeah.
Previous studies by Fisher's co-authors showed rats given psilocybin weren't any more motivated, for example, by valuing sugar more. If you're coming down from a mushroom high,
before we started talking about it.
Huh?
We should have vetted this one before we started talking about it. I don't know. I don't know. Just keep going. Sorry, I'm mumbling.
No, it's interesting.
It is interesting.
It's interesting. That rules out one explanation for their greater successes, but there could be many others. The team tested observations of each rat's behavior against an algorithm that predicted the responses to change in different psychological drivers. They concluded the behavior matches that would happen if the dosed-up rats remembered their wins, that is the time that they got the sugar hit, more, and were more likely to forget their losses. How do you know if a rat is remembering something? I'm so confused by this. That combination inspires anyone, rat or human, to be more adventurous rather than dwelling on all the times things didn't work. Stella would say, not very scientifically accurately, be a goldfish. Murph. The cracker? Scientists prefer to call stronger memories of successes than failure, resilience, or optimism bias. Actually, I could use this. I'm going to go drop me some mushrooms.
I thought you were allergic
Fisher
to
said
mushrooms.
most, I am, including her, saline-only rats have an optimism bias, but was enhanced in those with psilocybin. Okay, optimism. Yeah, rats have an optimism bias. The rats in the study were housed in conditions that allowed them to socialize. Solitary cages have been shown to induce depression-like symptoms. You think? Durr! If COVID taught us anything. And Fisher told the magazine future studies could investigate how effective psilocybin is at counteracting this. I don't think drugging somebody up because they're lonely is a good idea. I think socializing them is a good idea. Studies of depression. How do you know? I want to know what a depressed rat looks like.
Oh, they're smoking a cigarette. They're have
sitting
a
back.
beer
They've
can
got
in their hand,
Dorito
on the couch.
Dorito dust on their belly.
Dust on.
All right, so this goes on for a spell, but I still want to know what a depressed rat looks like and how you know. That's just so weird to me.
The study is open access on this web.
Crazy. All right.
Oh, well. This was probably my favorite weird and wonderful story of the week. This almost...
It started out weird and ends up, I think, wonderful. I'm not 100% sure. We'll see.
It might even be why we can't have nice things. I don't even know where this falls. I just love this photo, though. It's like it's hilarious.
I tried to find video, but I couldn't find video.
No, we couldn't find any. A court in southwest China refused a divorce request, even though the husband had been accused of domestic violence and had carried his wife out of the courtroom during the proceedings. The wife, surnamed Chen from Sichuan province, had been married to her husband Li for 20 years. According to the Shanghai Morning Post, the couple have 2 sons and a daughter. Recently, Chen filed for divorce and cited domestic violence as the reason, claiming their relationship had completely broken down. Chen said that Li became violent with her when he was intoxicated. However, the court did not grant the divorce because they claimed that the couple still had a deep emotional bond and suggested that reconciliation was still possible. They were also swayed by the fact that Li did not want to get divorced. Dissatisfied with the ruling, Chen appealed the case. During the second trial, Li became emotionally unstable, lifted Chen off the floor, ran out of the courtroom while carrying her on his back. Chen began to scream out of fear while she was being carried away. Courtroom bailiffs quickly intervened and reprimanded Li. On September 12th, Li wrote a letter of apology acknowledging his excessive actions and promising not to repeat such behavior. In my emotional agitation, I mistakenly thought I was about to divorce the appellant, so I carried out of the courtroom, ignoring the instructions of the judges and court officers who tried to stop my extreme actions, he wrote. I now realize the seriousness of my mistake and its negative impact. I guarantee that I will never repeat this mistake in the future. Ultimately, under court mediation, the couple did not divorce. Chen agreed to give Li another chance to rebuild their marriage. In China, 30% of married women reported to experience 30%. I don't know how much that's different from the U.S. Of married women reported to experience domestic violence. Additionally, 60% of the women who commit suicide each year do so because of domestic violence, according to the All China Women's Federation.
Dang.
That's pretty high. The court's decision sparked considerable dissatisfaction online, with many people expressing their concern about the woman's safety. Some question the court's understanding of domestic violence, while others criticize the legal system's handling of such cases. Oh my God, how could they not grant a divorce in this situation, asked one person. Another commenter added, if he can carry her out of the courtroom in public, what might he do in private?
Yeah.
Another person asked, what does it mean that the relationship is not broken down? Does it only count if someone was beaten to death?
Well, I'd have to know.
Pretty,
I'd have to know what the, because it doesn't say what kind.
Because a lot of domestic violence isn't physical, it's mental and emotional.
Yeah, I think that's a stretch for violence, but I think the culture in China is not to protect women.
No.
So, yeah. So that was weird, funny, and yet I'm not sure how to feel. We'll check back on them and see if there. Maybe he got help. Maybe he stopped drinking. Maybe this was a wake-up call for him. That's what I want to believe. That's what I want to believe. So, all right, let's head on over to. Have you ever lost your pet? Mm-hmm. And you posted signs everywhere hoping to find it.
It happened.
It happened to us once, and
with Max, he was missing for a week and a half.
He finally came home. Nobody found him, but remember when that little foster dog we had took a trip to the airport and somebody found her within hours?
Unfortunately, yes.
Yeah, unfortunately.
That dog was.
I don't know how she made it to the airport. She's running around at the airport.
Exactly. I figured out
because of the tunnel. Yeah,
there was a tunnel that she made it through where there isn't a lot of traffic. She did not walk across 6 lanes of traffic very likely.
No, thank goodness.
That would be a much less direct way to the airport.
But we have gotten lost pets back because of the microchip. So
always microchip your pets if you
this
you
one,
care
however,
about them.
was not microchipped, so he was lost for quite a bit. Yeah, so as fat as we were saying, I don't know why they say fur baby, because he was not a fur baby. Okay, let's get to the actual story, because all this is fluff. All right. It may seem impossible for any animal to live so long under these conditions. Okay, blah, 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 occasionally. However, one beloved animal has all of these other reunions beat. That pet was found alive a whopping 30 years after it went missing. As if that weren't crazy enough, it turns out that during those 3 decades, the animal was in the same house as its family, living right above their heads in the attic. It may seem impossible for any animal to live so long under these conditions, but it is something the family's pet could do, since it was a tortoise named Manuela. When she first disappeared, her family just figured Manuela got out while they were having electrical work done in their house in Rio de Janeiro. The family searched for her, but after time accepted that she was gone and moved on with their lives. I can't imagine she would flee very fast. Jeez. Aside from occasionally remembering her fondly, they didn't think much about Manuela until 30 years later, when the family patriarch sadly passed away. Around that time, relatives went into the attic to clean out some of his belongings, and that's when they discovered Manuela in an old wooden speaker box, alive and well. I don't know why all the pictures aren't coming up. Figure out what's up with the pictures. Why no pictures? Where pictures go?
No pictures.
I don't like that there are no pictures. I want to see Manuela. They probably posted just random pictures of.
Manuela.
No, actually, there was a video. Here we go. There's Manuela. The surprise didn't end after finding Manuela either. Following her discovery, the family took her in for a checkup and learned that she's actually male. Manuel, as he is now known, is still healthy, though he gets to eat and drink more often these days than he did over the last 30 years. No word on his exact age, but tortoises can live to be 255 years old.
They can go between 6 months and 3 years without food. That's
Yeah,
how.
so they think that he was eating termites.
Oh, okay.
So
Okay.
I guess there he is. And yeah, so I guess they think he was up there eating termites, but now he has these are random shots of tortoises, little bitty tortoise. So I mean, yeah, I guess he could hide in a dirty attic, and so they have reserve fat pads that they use in case of scarcity of food. They're able to lower their body temperature and other physiological processes and enter into a temporary state of suspended animation from which they can recover later. And whatever the reason, Manuel's returned surely, healed some wounds, and that is where they found him, little boxy turtle. So, yay! Welcome home, Manuel. All right, I read that one, so you could read this one.
All righty.
All yours, Jimmy.
So an iconic guitar that was used by George Harrison during his early years with the Beatles. We're talking really early, like pre-Love Me Do. Played on a couple of early recordings and played the clubs in Hamburg. Went up for auction. The Oddball Electric, which originally went up for auction back in 2019, was also used in the Fab Four's first official Polydor recordings, having featured heavily during their early Cavern Club gigs. Now, the Polydor recordings were ones they did with a singer named Tony Sheridan. A lot of you have heard My Bonnie or Cry for a Shadow. He played guitar on those with this guitar. George Harrison's historic Futurama, which he played extensively across more than 324 Beatles performances, so that would make it 325. Why do they write more than three? Is going up for auction a second time. Julian's Auctions announced the sale during the unofficial unveiling event today, which was 3rd of October in Liverpool, during which we called the Oddball Electric guitar one of the holy grails of historic Beatles guitar.
Why is it oddball?
Just its shape, its design. I mean, it looks kind of like a Fender, but there's some quirks to it. It just looks different.
It looks like it has a bottle opener on the side.
Oh my!
Those older guitars are heavy.
Yeah, they're no joke. Basses are even worse. Basses are so stupidly
yeah,
heavy.
it's beat up too, as it seems.
Indeed, the resonant Futurama's pedigree and significance in the annals of Beatles history is well known. Harrison first bought the Sunburst six-string from Hesse's Music Center in Liverpool, the same retailer where John Lennon bought his first Vox amp in the late 1950s. Quickly became one of Harrison's main guitars before the arrival of his Gretsch Duo Jet, which is his most legendary guitar. In 1962, eventually relegated the Futurama from his starting lineup. After that, it was passed on to a new custodian, but by the time the Futurama changed hands, it had already been used in over 300 shows, including some of the Beatles' legendary early Cavern Club gigs. Not only that, it had also been used by Harrison alongside McCartney and company for the Fab Four's Hamburg tour at the start of the 60s. During that first visit to Hamburg, the band played 106 nights, and Harrison used the Futurama for all of them, so it was well used and well loved. The Futurama would also return to Hamburg for the band's final visit to the city in 1962 and featured across a number of high-profile homecoming shows in Liverpool during the start of the decade, as well as a prolific live instrument. It was also a key studio tool and was used to help track the Beatles' first official recordings for Polydor between 1959 and 1961.
There's all kinds of things on this guitar that I have no idea what they are.
Yeah, me neither.
I mean, that
Those
whammy
look like
bar
push
doesn't
buttons
look like
on
it.
the side. That's really
Yeah, there's
weird.
push buttons, there's extra dials, and what looks to be a whammy bar, but it doesn't look like it whammies, so what does it do?
Namely, it can be heard on Ain't She Sweet and Cry for Shadow, as I said before. I'm trying to find out what it does. I'm skipping ahead. Okay, as mentioned, the guitar itself is a quasi-Stratocaster replica with a quirky double-cut design in the Sunburst colorway that is paired with a maple neck and fretboard. If I had my way, the Strat would have been my first guitar, Harrison himself once said of the Futurama. I'd seen Buddy Holly's Strat on the Chirping Crickets cover and tried to find one, but in Liverpool in those days, the only thing I could find resembling a Strat was a Futurama. was very difficult to play, an action about half an inch off the fingerboard. Ouch. But nevertheless, it did look kind of futuristic. It doesn't say what those buttons are for, which is
Yeah.
what I really want to know.
It did.
But let's
Doesn't look
skip ahead.
futuristic now.
Julian's is expecting good fortune, having set an estimated sale window of $600,000 to $800,000.
Wow.
It's the second high-profile Beatles auction that Julian's has overseen this year. Back in April, it announced the discovery of John Lennon's Help, famous 12-string, which ended up becoming one of the most expensive guitars to ever sell at an auction.
Really?
Yeah.
Clicking on that just to see what it says.
Yeah.
It ain't loading.
I'm
One of the
okay.
most important Beatles guitars to ever come on the auction block.
It fetched. Oh, wow.
Oh.
It sold
Yeah.
for $2.8 million.
Wow.
That's a beautiful guitar,
It
too.
is too.
Nice. Anyhow.
And he fancied himself a socialist.
Imagine no possessions. Get your hands off me guitar, you bloody twerp.
Yeah. Out of my white piano. All right. We've got a little entrepreneur on our hands, and I think this kid is going to go places.
Places. Lots of places.
Yes.
Okay.
What a cutie patootie. And, well, heavy on the patootie. This is Luca Arpin, better known to his neighbors as Poopa Scoopa Luca.
Cute.
He has a great future. His moniker is well earned as the 6-year-old styled himself the neighborhood's number one number to call for cleaning up after dogs and cats. Number one number, okay.
Number one, number two, scooper.
Yeah, number one, number two. People hate picking up dog poop, said the first grader from Warwick. Speaking with Wajar, Arpin said he has an appreciation for all things tidy and prefers cleaning up after activities. Oh, you go, little guy.
Wow.
You can be at a Kamala ad.
So he's OCD, nothing wrong with me.
His
Okay.
rate is $15 for one dog or $20 for multiple dogs. We would gladly pay that. He even has his own business card. Look at that card. It's a cartoon of a balloon dog
doggy.
with a balloon as the poo. Whoever helped him with that is genius. Perfect. His mother says that volunteering is one of their family's core values. She and Luca have an enduring love for animals and together have fostered 98 four-legged friends. 98 through her work at a local animal shelter. We suck at fostering.
Yeah, we wind up
all of them.
keeping
Yeah.
10/9 of them.
Yeah. 10 nights. First to fold laundry or mop a floor, Luca's mother said that his tendencies to offer his help pro bono at the shelter slowly landed him in a predicament where he wanted to afford to permanently adopt a cat but couldn't afford to do so. Oh, little guy's earning money so he could get himself a kitty. That's so cute. Asking Mom how he could earn money, the two settled on that poo patrol, which he says his work he doesn't mind at all. I have the coolest kid in the entire world, said his mother proudly. I agree. It didn't take long for Luca to save enough money to bring Pebble, a little female kitten he decided he couldn't live without, into the busy embrace of their home. Luca continues to work raising money, which he hopes can go to help other animals. What a sweetheart.
Very
Love
enterprising young man.
him.
That's beautiful.
Love him. We need more kids like that. You know, that's something that I noticed today at the service is all of the kids were happy.
Yeah.
They're just joyful and, busy and just being kids, which I feel like kids don't get to do it so much anymore. So that was nice to see. But if you can't be a kid, be a goat. Well, I guess technically, if you are a kid, you are a goat. If you think about it.
I tried not to.
He
but
tried not to, but now
I'm
he
thinking
can't
about it
not
now.
think
It's
about
like,
it. All right.
can't
Well, why
unthink
am I
it.
talking about goats, Jim?
As marathon runners made their way through winding forest pathways and residential roads on Newfoundland's east coast last week, they were joined by a four-legged competitor who has since become a sensation, says one mayor. The town of Conception Bay South hosted its first T-Railway Trek half marathon on Sunday. When its 250 runners passed a local business called Taylor's Pumpkin Patch, Mayor Darren Bent said a new contestant spontaneously joined the race. They have a resident goat, Mr. Joshua. And when the runners went past the pumpkin patch, the goat decided, well, I'm not staying here. I'm joining them, Bent told CBC News. Joshua ran alongside the runners for approximately 4 kilometers before his owners caught up with him, said Bent. His owners walked the last half kilometer with him to get him over the finish line. We very quickly put a medal around his neck, and he became quite the star. Most people who actually ran the half marathon wanted their picture with Joshua at the finish line, said Bent. He recalled he was waiting at the finish line at Topsail Beach when news spread that a goat was running alongside participants. We didn't know what quite to make of it. We had just heard a goat was running along the trail, he said. Joshua's owner, Jeremy Taylor, told CBC he learned of his goat's aspiration for long-distance running through social media. He decided to break his collar, which he had on for years, and join the runners. He was after going about 2 kilometers, and he was stopped around the water station, Taylor said. He's used to large groups of people, and he really gets involved. And when he's seen the crowd running, he decided to join in, not knowing it's one of the longest runs he's ever had. Joshua quickly became a highlight of the race, with his photos being shared hundreds of times on social media. Taylor said he heard from runners who decided to keep pace with Joshua, speeding up and slowing down as the goat tired and found another gear. Everybody's talking about it. It's putting a smile on a lot of faces, he said.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah,
oh, plus he's going to be dropping the puck at a CBS Renegades hockey game next week.
So now he's training the goat. So the goat really was the goat. Too cute. Too cute. Okay, now we're saving birdies, and we like saving birdies.
We do. We like
and
birds.
I think the reason I like this story so much is that this business didn't have to do this.
Right.
And it seems crazy expensive. I'm not sure why it costs so much, but a year after nearly 1,000 migrating birds were killed from striking exterior glass at Lakeside Center, an exhibition space in McCormick Place in Chicago, a $1.2 million project to install a bird-friendly pattern on windows, curtain wall, and other exterior glass coverings the size of 2 football fields has been completed. Look at that. They actually lined them all up. They look like sparrows. The film was manufactured by Toronto-based Feather Friendly Technologies. The installation, which took 3 months to complete, was done by NGS Films. And lots of stuff. Durability, longevity of the product, which will last for 15 plus years. The Metropolitan Pier and Exposition Authority, commonly known as McPier, which operates the center, pursued the window film solution to minimize collisions on recommendation from local, national, and international bird and animal advocacy groups, including, of course, U.S. Fish and Wildlife. So this is what it's going to look like. They'll be able to see the film applied on the windows, but you're still going to be able to see out. It has a pattern that is not visible at a distance to human eyes, is visible to birds, and helps them distinguish between open air and glass. For new construction, many architects specify a frit pattern that's manufactured with the glass itself. Okay, so they could have gotten it. I mean, now they know. Open to suggestions, and they were transparent with us as they implemented swift and significant changes to their lighting and existing windows to reduce risk to birds in future migratory seasons. In addition to the window film, the pier also reaffirmed its commitment to Lights Out Chicago program, which requires buildings to turn off their lights when they are unoccupied. It also began... Well, why wouldn't they? Is that a thing where they just leave their lights on when they're not occupied?
Mm-hmm.
That's a thing?
Must be.
Why?
Don't know.
It also began shutting off unnecessary external lights that may attract wildlife and enacted a policy requiring drapes to be closed overnight to prevent light from escaping. Okay. Dr. Julian Siggers, president and CEO of Chicago's Field Museum of Natural History, which has been documenting bird collisions at Lakeside Center for more than 4 decades, expects the film to reduce the number of bird collisions. Well, I certainly hope so, because that's literally the only point. Why do they put stupid things in there like that? I hate it when they put superfluous... It's like it's like they're a high schooler trying to meet their word count.
And Epstein didn't kill himself.
Yeah.
An orange man bad.
And Orange Man bad. Field Museum researchers have documented bird collisions at Lakeside Center for more than 4 decades, and we would expect to see a measurable reduction in those numbers this fall migration season as a result of the new window treatments. And okay, we're just lather, rinse, repeat.
Yeah, they made the point.
Yeah,
You even
jeez, just
blurbed your way through it and blah, blah, and went down there and still.
beat it to dang death.
Good gravy.
I mean, dang. Okay.
This is a fascinating story. A 4-year-old boy who was expected to die shortly after his life support was removed has confounded medical expectations, the UK judge has said in a ruling. Months before, the High Court ruled that life-sustaining ventilation was not in the child's best interest after hearing evidence from doctors treating him. The boy, referred to as NR in court records, was born with severe brain abnormalities and his health was deteriorating. The judge said the remarkable young boy had not only survived, but has made progress and now lives at home with his parents.
Wow.
Holy crowley. The judge, Mr. Justice Poole, that is such a freaking great name
If
for
you're
a judge.
going to have a judge, be a judge, yeah.
Your name be Justice Poole. That's got to be a novel or a comic book. Has now lifted declarations which would have allowed doctors to withhold CPR and not provide certain treatments. NR still has significant medical challenges. Mr. Justice Poole said, I do not wish to minimize the emotional turmoil suffered by Mr. and Mrs. R and the continuing burdens that NR suffers because of his conditions, but it seems to me to be a wonderful surprise that NR has confounded expectations, that he no longer requires continuing invasive interventions, and, in particular, that he has been able to return home to the loving care of his devoted parents.
That really needed to be said in a blustery British. I do have.
But I do not wish to minimize
Yeah,
the
I'll do the whole thing, yeah.
Yeah,
But that's
okay.
what I'm hearing anyway.
Sorry. I should have done that judge
I
at the
just-
end of Pink Floyd's The Wall.
There you
The
go.
evidence before the court
Right,
is
there you go.
incontrovertible for the jury to trial.
But keep in mind, folks, this is the government deciding what medical treatment your child is allowed to
This
have.
is England. Anyway,
Yeah.
The Clash. Anyway, he said that when some orders about treatment were made in January 2024, NR was suffering many more burdens. There was little to no evidence that he could derive pleasure from life other than the consoling touch of his parents. However, the situation has changed. Now he can be taken outside, for example, to the park. He can enjoy the sun on his face and feel the wind in his hair. He's living in a loving home environment. Mr. Justice Poole said it was a delight to see pictures of the boy at home with his devoted parents. Months after being taken off life support, NR is breathing for himself and no longer uses a urinary catheter. That's pretty substantial.
That's
NR's
huge.
mother told the court in a statement that her son had earned a new start and he deserves it. A decision to withdraw life-sustaining treatment is not a decision to bring about the death of a patient, but a decision that the continuation of the treatment is not in their best interests, Mr. Justice Poole said. NR's case is the latest high-profile end-of-life hearing to reach the Royal Courts of Justice, following similarly disagree. Okay,
One
poor
more
writing.
time.
Following similar disagreements between doctors and parents over the treatment of children.
Yeah, wrong word.
Yeah. The judge said NR's case was highly unusual and raised challenging questions for the court. He added the counsel could not find a similar case in which a child survived for months after life-sustaining treatment had been withdrawn, following a court decision. Last year, the parents of a critically ill baby called Indy Gregory launched a number of legal challenges in a bid to prolong their daughter's life. The family tried to convince the High Court, Court of Appeal, and European Court of Human Rights judges that she should continue to receive care. They should have, kidnapped her, thrown her on a plane and taken her.
There
to-
actually was a movement of people that wanted to do that, but
Yeah.
I think people got arrested in relation
Anyway,
to
the
that.
girl died in 2023 after her life support was turned
Yeah,
off.
because I think there was like a procedure that they had heard about in Germany or somewhere,
Yeah.
and the government wouldn't let them take their own child. It's ridiculous, and that's what they want here, folks. So just keep that in mind when you're voting for
Whoever you're voting for.
socialists.
Vote on November 5th.
All right, let's talk about random acts of kindness
Okay.
before we head into news of the wicked. A rather unique story is sweeping American social media. Moms leaving presents for other moms inside baby products. Story began when Nashville mom Danisha Gonzalez, she does not look like a Danisha Gonzalez. I think mom, wow, okay, went to Target and saw a strange yet translatable sight, a silver clutch purse placed on the shelf with the baby supplies. Now, I think she read way more into this than it probably was, because I've been known to pick up something and drop it off elsewhere on my way somewhere, but this is what she got out of it. A mother, Gonzalez reasoned, had picked out the clutch, which retailed for $20, but gave up her own desires in order to provide for her baby.
Wait a minute. Let me overthink this. Go ahead.
Okay. Have you overthought it enough?
No, I'm playing her.
Oh. Gonzalez posted a video of it on her TikTok account, which later went viral, of course. In it, a long inhale and exhale is followed with the caption, "She deserved the purse. To the mother who chose themselves last, you deserve the world tonight and always." The video went mega viral, being viewed by tens of millions of people, and it launched a spontaneous nationwide campaign to hide gift cards or cash inside boxes of diapers and other projects. That was propelled all the further after Gonzalez's video was seen by Cicely Bachman, a mom influencer. So what do you bet they're going to start stealing diapers now to see if there's anything in them? She went into a Target and recorded a video of herself buying a $100 gift card, writing a note, and walking through the store to stash it for a lucky, hardworking mom to find. "Hey, you deserve that special you thing. You are amazing." The note, which she put between a bag of Huggies.
I think it's well intentioned.
It's a well intended. It's a sweet idea.
well-intentioned.
I think it would be better though if it just went directly to the mom instead of any rando that would happen to find it. Bachman called it the hashtag She Deserved the Purse challenge, and the Washington Post reports that there are now over 150 videos on TikTok under this hashtag, all featuring either women leaving gifts for their postpartum peers or finding the gifts and usually recording a tear-soaked thank you video about it. Katie Beach, a stay-at-home mother of a 2-year-old boy and a 2-month-old girl, told the Post that the videos affected her deeply. She replicated Bachman's stunt, doubled, then quartered the cash, and left the presents all over the baby aisle. Social media was always an aspirational place where people weren't really showing the truth, Beach said. "I think recently, as we all start to show more of the truth, it makes motherhood feel so much less alone." See, and that's true. The more free you are, the actual better you'll say. It'll get ugly for a while because people feel that freedom and think they can, but what's going to happen is people are going to just come back to being human again, which means they're going to be kinder again, which means we're going to get back to being better.
Back to better.
Make America great again.
Make America
Free
great.
speech. Okay. Those are some fun stories.
They are.
Let's head on into... now, see, that's why we can't have nice things. What do you do with a wayward water buffalo?
What do you do with a wayward buffalo? What do you do? I don't even know. The owner of a water buffalo that ran loose in Des Moines, Iowa suburb for days pleaded guilty for having an animal at large. The owner was fined $105 in court costs yesterday, the Des Moines Register reported. The owner was taking the animal to slaughter when it escaped in August.
Go Buffalo!
Go Buffalo! Coming next week to ABC. Police spent days searching for it as it roamed
How do you
Pleasant
miss
Hill.
a water buffalo?
I don't know. Police spent days searching for it as it roamed Pleasant Hill, a town of 11,000 residents. Fans named the animal Phil P. Hill. Get it? Pleasant Hill? After the city. Police at one point shot Phil while trying to capture the animal, but it escaped and continued to roam for several days before being tranquilized with help from zoo and animal rescue workers. The former owner gave custody of Phil and 2 other water buffaloes, now named Sal and Jane, to an animal shelter. The water buffalo was treated at a large animal hospital for an infected gunshot wound.
Yeah, you stupid cop.
Water buffaloes can weigh up to 2,650 pounds, or 1,200 kilograms, according to the website for Nat Geo. Although the Iowa animal appears smaller in photos, often domesticated, Water buffalo is the largest member of the bovine tribe, which includes yak, bison, African buffalo, various species of wild cattle, and others. The National Geographic website done went and said.
Well, it had a happy ending.
Yeah.
At least now the buffalo isn't going to become
Now,
buffalo
this
burgers.
next story just
Burns my biscuits.
I can't even put into words.
Toast my corn.
Yeah.
Yeah. All I have to do is find it now. Here we go. Okay.
Okay. All right. Let's rock this thing.
So this guy is a paraplegic, and with the magic of this machine, he's actually able to stand and walk. So it's like an exoskeleton. Now I saw, I think we both did at NorwestCon. There was a guy that was showing. This was years and years and years ago. So it's nice to
Right.
see that they
This is
actually
2010
went
or so.
into production and actually
Yeah.
are helping people.
Right.
Because it was just a prototype at the time. WTF? Having some gadget crap out after the warranty expires, like my car, is just an annoyance for most of us. By the way, donate to the Save the Kia Fund. But in the case of Doug Strait, who was paralyzed from the waist down after a horse racing accident, the device in question was essential to his quality of life. After the former jockey's 100,000 Rewalk exoskeleton stopped working due to a tiny...
$100,000.
What did I say?
You just said 100,000 rewalk. You skipped the dollar altogether.
Okay. Dollar! Due to a tiny component failure, he could no longer walk because the company refused repairs. Well, somebody else would... The high-tech suit made by the company called LifeWord allowed Strait to walk again with physical therapy. It even helped increase his bone density and treat some other symptoms caused by the injury. Unfortunately, after racking up over 371,000 steps, erect steps, the suit suddenly quit on him thanks to a loose wire connection on the watch that acted as the control interface. So just solder the dang wire. The malfunction could have been fixed for basically pocket change. All LifeWord had to do was resolder that little wire back onto the watch's battery.
Just like you said.
Shockingly, the company flat out refused, telling Strait that his 10-year-old exoskeleton was too ancient for them to service anymore, despite its six-figure cost when new. So this is what it looks like. I think Musk is going to make something way better than this.
Yeah.
The reason why it has stopped is a pathetic excuse for a bad company to try to make more money. Strait posted on Facebook on September 16th. The reason it stopped is because of a battery in the watch I wear to operate the machine. I called thinking it was no big deal, yet I was told they stopped working on any machine that was 5 years or older. 5 years doesn't, I mean, in today's technology, I guess 5 years is a long time. Unfortunately, Strait's struggles represent a bigger issue plaguing the meditech industry and consumer electronics in general. For instance, back in 2022, hundreds of people lost vision when a startup Second Sight stopped supporting its Argus 2 bionic eye implants to focus on brain implants instead. So you're just going to let these people be blind? Is this for real?
Welcome to 2024. It's just 1984, only like a lot
Somebody
later.
somewhere has got to take up the
40
slack
years later,
for this.
that's
This is insane. Manufacturers also go out of their way to make it difficult or impossible for anyone but their own overpriced technicians to make
Sounds
repairs.
like cars.
That sounds exactly like what we're going through. As 404 Media notes, they even lobby against right to repair laws and lean on people who share DIY fixes. This is true. This is a big thing that, I forget the guy's name, but he's out there fighting for, why shouldn't I be allowed to fix my own dang toaster? Like, I don't even have the right to fix, like, any of Apple products or whatnot. They just become doorstops because you're not allowed to fix it. If you own it, who can tell you that you can't fix it? The lobbying works because they can make a stronger case for themselves by claiming independent repairs could create safety risks. My fuzzy white behind. That may be true, but by forcing price, just for the record, it's not fuzzy, just so we're clear.
It's nice and smooth.
Let's just not talk about my behind.
Well, you brought it up.
Stop. That may be true, but by forcing pricey replacements over affordable fixes, such as companies are also able to increase profits. But you're not increasing your chances of having a place at the right hand of God. This is the dystopian nightmare that we've kind of entered in, where the manufacturer perspective on products is that their responsibility completely ends when it hands it over to a customer. Well, if that is true, then you should be allowed to make your own repairs. You can't have it both ways.
Right.
Nathan Proctor, that's the guy, head of a citizens' right group, U.S. PIRG's Right to Repair Project.
Yay.
We've talked about Nathan before. Mm-hmm. Straight did ultimately get his robotic legs repaired, but only after raising a ruckus on social media and getting local TV to cover his struggle. Of course, not every person with disabilities can pull this off, so hopefully this fight helps shine the light on the need for right to repair reform. Yeah, because what a bunch of garbage that was. Give me a break.
Well, I could certainly understand an impulse a teacher might have to do this.
Hold on. We've got a stinger.
Oh.
We got a stinger. You gotta wait for the stinger.
Wait for the stinger.
Wait
Here
for
it
the
comes.
stinger. Here it comes.
This is not Bubba Waters. It is no longer 2020. But this is your new abnormal.
If you can't raise corporate taxes, or if GOP takes control of the Senate, where do you get the money to do that? Do you still go forward with those plans and borrow?
Well, but we're going to have to raise corporate taxes, and we're going to have to make sure that the biggest corporations and billionaires pay their fair share. That's just it. It's about paying their fair share. I am not mad at anyone for achieving success, but everyone should pay their fair share, and it is not right that the teachers and the firefighters that I meet every day across our country are paying a higher tax than the richest people in our country.
President, there wasn't a single thing that I did that she couldn't do. And so I was able to delegate her responsibility on everything from foreign policy to domestic policy.
She simply has said it doesn't have to be this way. It doesn't have to be this way. We can't afford 4 more years of this, and I've been saying it. You
think you just fell out of a coconut tree?
I'm sorry. That freeze frame still cracks me up. When Walls said that, they should have literally just taken that segment and said, "I'm Donald Trump and I approve of this message." I mean,
they did that, but
he's done that to several.
The campaign did that recently with several.
All they have to do is take what these morons are saying and be like, "There you go. That's what they want." Yeah, crazy. Okay, so as you were alluding to earlier, indeed, I'm going to play this video for you because this, let me just say, they wouldn't find the body. I am blown away at this.
To school. What happened with the sticker?
The sticker makes me fall asleep.
This is 4-year-old Lane Luviano. She's the one that broke this case open in September when she snuck one of her sleepy stickers out of the classroom.
She kind of pulled up her little
sleepy stickers, okay? So, and this is here in Texas.
They know better.
This is here in Texas.
They know better.
It gets better, though. Okay, so this poor little girl, she actually sneaks one out. So I would assume that the teachers have to go around and pull them off and threaten the kids not to tell their parents.
I would imagine.
Otherwise, she snuck it out, they said.
And said, "Mom, look, this is my sleeping sticker." And I was like, "The what?"
When Lane's mom, Lisa, saw the sticker, she thought it was strange and asked her daughter about it.
And the teacher gives it to you, where she put it?
On my arm.
On your arm? Which part? Point to it. Right up there?
Yeah.
And what's it look like?
Sleeping with a moon
Lane's dad says
Sleepy with
he's
the moon
known
on
something was wrong since school first started.
2 o'clock in the morning, I'm hearing the room, some noise in the room, and I'm going over there. She's still up. And so she gives you the sticker. You put the sticker on.
The
and
kid sleeps
it makes
all
you
day.
tired?
Yeah.
Wow. And all the kids get them?
Yeah. They never notified the parents.
So Lisa took matters into her own hands. She reached out to the other parents in Lane's class, sent them pictures of the patch to see if their kids were getting the stickers too.
I showed it to my 4-year-old, and she said, yes, that's the sleepy sticker.
Melissa Guilford immediately went online to research the sticker.
Sleep Z patch. Okay, so, and if you read the ingredients on them, it has a lot of, it's just things I've never even heard of.
And they're giving them drugs to make them sleep, to keep them quiet.
Najala Abdullah tells us she'd noticed changes in her son, who told her he'd been getting the stickers too. She says he'd been crying, stopped eating, and was bringing home lunches that he hadn't touched. The parents shared with us an email they received from Northgate Crossing Elementary's principal today. The email states 2 of the school staff members were put on leave after they allegedly
put on leave. Not canned like
They're
stewed
dosing
tomatoes.
children.
Not fired like from a rifle.
Yeah.
Not
only should they have been fired, they should be prosecuted for child
to the
endangerment.
fullest extent of the law.
Absolutely, they should have the book thrown at them.
Administered sleeping supplements to students on September 24th. The email also states the Spring ISD Police Department is investigating.
Okay, so I ended the video there because I didn't want to get in too much trouble, but Gomez says she wants more information and that the school district, teachers, and aides be held accountable. Other parents want criminal charges, and I support that 1,000%.
Plus 1%. Me. 1,001%.
Well, they're in too, yeah. I was really mad because with everything going on, you're just hoping and praying nothing happens to your kid. In this day and age, putting kids to sleep because you're too damn lazy to do your job. I hope these people never see another child the rest of their lives. May they never work in any school system anywhere on the planet.
They Spring ISD has a policy against giving kids medications of any sort, including herbal substances, steroids, or supplements, the statement notes. Distribution of the sleep patches by teachers could violate that policy.
Could?
www.youtthink.com.
The safety of our students is our highest priority, and we take every allegation of misconduct seriously.
Well,
sure.
It sounds to me like you weren't paying attention.
Yeah.
And how do you not notice entire classroom of kids sleeping the entire dang day? What were these teachers doing? Their nails? Seriously, what were they doing? It blows my mind. I can't even figure. What were they doing? Jeez Louise. I think it's time that we check in our crazy neighbors to the south. They just went through it, and perhaps it's time for a little bit of Florida Man.
Indeed.
Let's try that again, shall we?
Ever had a day you felt so stupid, lacking a brain?
Cha-cha-cha.
Well, here's a guy who'll make you feel like a genius and maybe even sane.
Tappity. All the world loves to laugh at losers as often as they can. Here comes another chance to chuckle. Here comes the Florida Man.
These are so fun. So much fun. The first one technically isn't a Florida Man, but it really, really should be.
And this is my favorite story of the
All
week.
right, it's all yours.
Outstanding. 2 men were arrested in Arkansas this week after allegedly taking turns shooting. Let me try that again. 2 men were arrested in Arkansas this week after allegedly taking turns shooting each other while wearing a bulletproof vest. A police report has said. Charles Eugene Ferris, age 50.
Now, I don't understand why they were arrested if they were only shooting at each other.
I know, it's
I say
Darwin.
let Darwin, let Darwin sort them out.
Sometimes the authorities have to step in and save people from their own stupidity. They just do. I know you don't like the idea, but it's true. They do.
As long as they're not hurting anybody else, I don't care.
But they have family members and friends, I'm sure. But anyway, Charles Eugene Ferris, age 50, and Christopher Hicks, age 36, were detained on Monday after the incident, which took place on last Sunday, and left last Sunday, I think, and left one.
This is actually an older article. It was just too good to pass up.
Okay, yeah,
We didn't report on it when it happened, so we had to bring it back.
Okay. Which took place a while back and left one neighbor alarmed. Details of the case were inside an arrest affidavit obtained by the Northwest Arkansas Democrat-Gazette. That's a name. According to the affidavit, a deputy with the Benton County Sheriff's Office first interviewed Ferris after he was admitted to the hospital late Sunday night. The man reportedly had a red spot on his upper chest, but tried to concoct an elaborate cover story for the injury, police said. As reported by KFSM-TV, Ferris claimed an asset had paid him $200 for protection.
An asset?
Yeah, it's a word he learned on a TV show. He said the pair met another man at around 10 p.m. and ended up in a gunfight.
Wah, wah, wah.
The 50-year-old told the deputy he was hit multiple times but returned shots and fled in a car. He said he was taken to the hospital by the so-called asset. Later, he admitted to making up the tale in an attempt to protect his friend. The NADZ, whatever. The Northwest Arkansas Democrat-Gazette reported.
That's a heck of a name.
Leslie Ferris, the man's wife, had a different recollection of events. She told police that he had been drinking outside their home with his
there was
neighbor
drinking
Hicks
involved. Golly, you
and
think?
the wife. Wife did not have this man's back. He had been drinking outside their home with his neighbor Hicks when gunfire erupted. The couple's residence is located in Rogers, a city in Benton County. When confronted by investigators, the husband changed his story. According to the affidavit, he confirmed they were drinking and playing with a bullet-resistant vest. After asking Hicks to shoot him...
Bullet-resistant? That's not bulletproof, that's bullet-resistant.
After asking Hicks to shoot him, he was hit in the chest with a .22 caliber semi-automatic rifle, leaving the mark.
That's going to leave
a 22 caliber isn't likely to kill, but that's still really stupid. Local media outlet KARK TV, that's right, K-R-A-R-K for Arkansas.
That's the name.
KARK TV reported Ferris asserted that he had been left pissed, quote, about the injury and then unloaded the clip into Hicks, who by this stage was wearing the vest. The friend was struck 5 times in the back. Luckily, none of the bullets pierced the material. Well, luckily for who?
Louise.
One local neighbor told 5 News that he was concerned about his children who live nearby. I have 3 kids. 2 of them still live at home here, right next to them. They shoot as many as 50 to 100 rounds at a time. I just want to make sure it's not just left hanging, no charges. There has to be something done about it. If nothing is done, it could escalate into someone getting seriously injured. Maybe someday that is not on their property, he added. Both Ferris and Hicks were arrested on suspicion of aggravated assault, a Class D felony, which carries a potential penalty of 6 years in prison, a fine up to $10,000, and a slap upside the dumb heads. 5 News reported.
No malicious mischief?
No malicious mischief.
Dang. They're
No
fun.
formal charges have been filed, and the pair were released yesterday on a $5,000 bond. The 2 men are currently scheduled to appear in the Benton County Court for hearing back in May of 2019 when this was done. According to local media outlets, I'm sure
I'm sure the court case went like this. What are you doing, you idiot? Clonk. Woo, 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 boing.
Yeah, numbskull. Boink. Yuck, 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 yuck. Anyway.
God. I'd like to say what were these guys thinking, but yeah.
We don't know what
honorary
they were
Florida man from Arkansas.
All right.
Well, I don't know if you know this, but a little thing happened in the Florida area recently.
Yeah. $750 a person too. It's
yeah,
so generous.
I don't actually. She hasn't declared that for Florida yet. That's for the Carolinas and other places. But anyways, let's check in on our Florida residents. The first one is actually a follow-up on a story that we reported last week with those foo-foo homes that were built to withstand hurricanes, and apparently
they were put to the test.
They were put to the test, and apparently one guy not only wanted it put to the test, but he weren't going nowhere.
I don't know about people like that. I just don't know.
Yeah.
But if I paid that much for a home, it's time to test this sucker.
Well, yeah. I mean,
You know?
seriously, if I'm going to pay that much for a house, I'm going to want to put it to the test. So, yeah, he wrote it out. $1.25 million hurricane-proof home, and he said he was basically unarmed.
Nice.
So here are people practically swimming in their own streets. And let's get down to the actual article. Everything turned out fine. The storm came through, and
It's first person.
we were about 15 miles from the eye of it. You think? It actually came in a different direction this time for us as opposed to Helene. It came across the back of the house instead of the front. It was a lot of rain, a lot of hard gusts. I think we hit 100 miles per hour a few times, but absolutely no problems at all. The solar power kicked in when the city's grid went out, and we're still running on solar right now. It charges up during the day and then powers us through the night. During the day, officials want you to turn off anything that's not necessary. The water heater, microwaves, keeping the lights to minimum. You don't want to drain the battery too fast. So no AC for those guys. We still have everything we stored on the second floor, but I'll wait to take it back down when the power is back on and we can use the elevator. They have an elevator? Oh, wow, each of these houses have a pool, too.
They're nice looking.
Fancy. It'll be a while before the power is back. They're working on it. It's kind of miserable with no air conditioning. Where? But at least the weather hasn't been too bad in the 70s and 80s with a slight breeze. So, yeah, they worked. Good job. So it's nice to report on something that actually worked. All right. This next guy, well, he didn't have the same kind of dough as the first guy, so he kind of improvised.
This is American ingenuity. I won't say its finest, but certainly at its most creative.
Yes.
The efforts of one Florida man, what else, went to in order to batten down the hatches and prevent his home from being damaged by Hurricane Milton as it roared across the state earlier this week, appears to have paid off. In a photo that went viral, homeowner Pedro Casares of Orlando had the wild idea of strapping down his family home in an attempt to prevent major damage as the Category 3 storm pummeled the area.
So he actually...
Pummele.
See the end of those straps? He actually installed cement posts
blocks,
there.
posts?
Yeah,
Wow.
to so he
He
spent a
actually
pretty
thought
penny.
this out. This is actually
I
pretty
think they said he spent
ingenious.
about $20,000 all told.
Huh. Despite skepticism from those who saw the picture ahead of the storm, Casares' forward planning looks to have saved the home from any significant damage. Originally from Puerto Rico, Casares planted metal hooks into the ground embedded within 8 feet of cement, like my fine bride said. Huge plastic straps, the kind normally used to keep cargo containers in position on ships, were then connected to the hooks on the ground in order to keep the roof from lifting off as the storm battered the area. Casares spent $22,000 for the cement anchors. Turns out it was a decent investment. Specifically made to order straps that line the rooftop of the family home, which are said to be able to withstand 5,400 pounds of weight. The ingenious precautions came after the family endured a hurricane while living in Guaynabo on the Caribbean island, which saw the aluminum roof of their home almost lift off. TikTok user Simply Unique Smiles 93, Casares' daughter, gave viewers a much anticipated walk around the home to allow followers to see how the home had fared.
Looks like the outbuilding did okay too.
Yeah.
Max, this is not your article.
I must sing the song of my people. Macamau. The house, thankfully, were good. There's just a lot of leaves everywhere, but everything is still intact. There's a lot of affected areas near our home, she explained during
It
a
looks
walkout.
like the other houses did okay too. So
Yeah,
I
they did
mean,
okay.
He took precautions, but
Yeah.
he didn't strap down his truck, which is weird.
The home is intact. Not a single shingle nor tile is lifted from the roof. Everything is good. We're not taking the straps off until the hurricane is over, she added. Before the storm hit, social media users were captivated by Casares' idea. Most said they were impressed with his efforts, branding him as a legend and praising him for thinking outside the box. This is the most Florida thing I've ever seen. One person joked.
Is.
Everyone is laughing now, but this man will be a legend when all the other houses are floating down the road and he's sitting in his new living room swimming pool watching TV powered by a Starlink terminal with someone else. I actually respect the effort. I hope it's effective, added another user. He's thinking outside the box. Need more folks like him, read a fourth tweet. A fifth said, bro secured his house like a piano when moving. Absolute legend. Absolute.
Boarded up all the windows. He
Yeah.
said there wasn't any damage.
Outstanding.
Very, very little
Florida
damage.
residents slogged through flooded streets, gathered up scattered debris, and assessed damage to their homes after Hurricane Milton smashed through coastal communities and spawned a barrage of deadly tornadoes. At least 10 people were dead, and rescuers still were saving people from swollen rivers, but many expressed relief that Milton wasn't worse. The hurricane spared densely populated Tampa a direct hit, and the lethal storm surge that scientists feared never materialized. Florida's vital tourism industry is starting to return to normal as Walt Disney World and other theme parks reopen.
Of course, Walt Disney World opened again.
It's
Of course,
like
they did.
a major source of revenue.
A true Florida man goes by the name Lieutenant Dan. You may recognize that name from Forrest Gump. And the
Right.
gentleman is indeed an amputee, and he decided that he was going to weather the storm on his teeny tiny sailboat. This isn't the first time he's done that. He actually weathered Helene and did okay, but now he's holding out for, what's this one's name? Milton? Morton?
Milton
like-
the monster.
It's just like the most unscary name you could possibly conceive of for a storm.
Well,
And
they ran out. They weren't going to call it Hurricane Monas. They haven't gone that far yet.
Should have called it Hurricane Kamala.
Maybe Hurricane Melanie.
Hurry, I could use I could use a hurricane. Well, they're starting to name them after dudes, which is like why? But anyway,
Just ran out of women's names, I guess.
and I think they could have. How come there's never a Hurricane Shaniqua?
They don't always get that far down because they do them in alphabetical order. It's
Right.
Right. They
So-
don't always get down to S.
Oh, you mean it resets every year?
Yeah, it resets every year.
Oh, so they should just name them the same ones: Abe, Barney, Charlie, Doris.
When you are elected to the
Eduardo,
Florida legislature, you can make
Frida,
those kinds of decisions. and stir-
Gertrude. Imagine being taken out by Hurricane Gertrude.
That'd be like adding insult to injury.
It's almost as bad as Milton. Anyways, this fine gentleman, I want to play this video for you. Hopefully we don't get in trouble for it.
Tracking Milton tonight, a live look right there over Tampa, Florida. A lot of flooding already rushing Bayshore Boulevard right there next to Tampa Bay. And nearby,
Lots of
some
flooding.
refusing to evacuate ahead of that dangerous storm. Joseph Malinowski, known to locals as Lieutenant Dan, he's generated a lot of heat so far tonight. Earlier, you see it here, police tried to force him to leave his sailboat in
He's like,
Tampa
"No."
Bay, but he
And
didn't
what
head
can
to
they do?
shelter.
I
He
mean-
refused to get
No.
in. Now, video
He's not
from
hurting
today shows him
anybody.
struggling to propel that sailboat for the conditions to come. He survived Hurricane Helene
Wonder
2
who's
weeks
helping
ago
him.
and says, even facing arrest, even risking his own life, he is riding out that storm tonight.
Yeah, he's going to risk his.
God sent me here. He sent me here. He told me to come here. My life, this is nothing compared to what I've been through, so this doesn't scare me. This is not even a minor inconvenience.
It's not even a
Hours
minor
earlier, Mayor Jane
inconvenience,
Castro
the
of Tampa
guy
did threaten
says.
to arrest him for his own protection and force him into a shelter. And at this hour, it's unclear if that has happened yet.
So we have a update on Lieutenant Dan. And first of all, arrest him for his own protection. I don't know. I just...
I know you have it just depends on the situation.
Yeah,
but-
I mean, it's not like he's out there with a gun firing it at people. You know, it's not like he's harming anybody. So I say let him do what he needs to do if that's what he feels. I also didn't feel, I mean, I didn't feel like he was insane. A lot of people are trying to say he's crazy and this and that. I did not
when
get that
somebody
impression.
says God told me to, sometimes it's a
It
bit
does,
suspect.
and you know that's a little sus. But when you look at, not to get political, but you look at liberals and their crazy eyes,
Uh-huh.
you're like, whoa, okay, that person is way off their rocker. He didn't have that.
No.
He was really matter of fact about it. So, you know, Godspeed. But we do have an update on Lieutenant Dan. He did indeed survive. So here he is.
So maybe they just should leave him alone from now on and let him handle it.
Yeah, so a Tampa man nicknamed Lieutenant Dan is safe after riding out Hurricane Milton in his sailboat. In video shared by journalist on X, Of course, now we've made all of this. He was seen in his 20-foot boat after the hurricane made landfall as a Category 3. So they were telling us Category 5, Category 12, Category 9,000, and it turned out to be a Category 3, which is still pretty bad.
That's still nothing to sneeze at.
Yeah,
It's like,
but it wasn't as bad as they said it was going to. I mean, the way they were freaking out. He posted, one of the anchors posted a clip with the caption, "Lieutenant Dan update. He survived," to talk about his wild night riding out Hurricane Milton in his 20-foot sailboat. He actually has his own hashtag, Lieutenant Dan. In the video, O'Donnell zooms in on the boat as the man whose real name is Joseph Malinowski. He asks, "Hey, how you doing? It's Lieutenant Dan. Are you okay? How's the ride?" See, he doesn't have crazy eyes.
No, he looks pretty...
He's crazy, don't get me wrong, but he doesn't have those eyes.
Yeah.
The water's gone. Mr. M, I'm not going to try that name again. "Yeah, it's going out. It's being pulled out," O'Donnell adds before asking him how he is doing. "I'm doing fine," Mr. M responds. "Was it as bad as you thought?" O'Donnell asked, to which he replied, "No. Is the water coming back or is it still going out?" "It's going out. You hang in there." "All right, I appreciate that. I'll see you tomorrow." Another video shared by News Nation correspondent Brian Enton shows him approaching the sailboat and asking, "Lieutenant Dan, you okay?" "I'm fine," he responds as he appears from a hatch. "I think you made it through the worst of it," Eaton adds. "I'm doing fine. I'm stuck here." He replies, Lieutenant Dan went viral earlier this year after he said in a TikTok video that he wouldn't evacuate ahead of the hurricane and would instead just ride out the storm in his boat, which he did. Explaining why he wanted to stay put in the video, Malinowski said, "My faith in God. God told me to come out here and get a boat. I came out here and got a boat. He's been telling me in the last 2 days I'm doing the right thing. He's got my back. I'm in good shape. We're going to ride this out." The interviewer then asked Malinowski if he would be wearing a life jacket to brace for Milton, to which he responded, "Hell no," later adding, "The safest place in the world is to be in my boat." Authorities said they had offered evacuation help, but he declined. Amid the attention, his past legal troubles also came to light. So I don't know if he's repenting or what's going on here, but apparently the guy's had a rather torrid past. His criminal history includes a 1-year prison sentence for punching a police officer in the nose. I'm sorry, I should not be laughing at that. But he looks like a guy who would punch a police officer in the nose.
Yeah, he does look like someone who punched a police officer in the
And a
nose.
separate case last year in which he was accused of setting a park bench on fire and then splashing gasoline on a woman nearby who feared for her life. Records reviewed verify that Malinowski, whose name is also sometimes spelled differently, Malinoyski as opposed to Malinowski, was released from prison in Florida in 2022 after serving a year for battery of a law enforcement or another official. Poof, right in the kisser. Actually, I guess you don't. If you're an Eskimo, that would have been right in the kisser since he punched him in the nose. In February 2023, he was separately accused.
I love you so much.
You're so funny. He was separately accused. You know we're live, right? He was separately accused of aggravated battery with a deadly weapon after a woman claimed he put gasoline on her while she was smoking a cigarette. Oh, dear. A probable cause affidavit states Malinowski told police at the time that he had thrown the gasoline straight up into the air because that's something you do. According to the affidavit, the court records show the case was subsequently dropped, though it's not clear why. Dropped just like that gasoline that he threw up in the air for no particular reason.
There you go.
And, of course, they tried to reach out for him for comment, which means they sent an email to some random email, and the guy probably doesn't even have email. Whenever they say they tried to reach for comment and didn't get it, they didn't try. And usually when they do, it's like 5 minutes before the article is published. They don't,
Right.
yeah.
Okay.
Anyways, folks have started a GoFundMe for him, which has so far raised $39,000. So hopefully if there's any damage to his boat, he gets it fixed. Godspeed. Congratulations for making it through. And we have one more Florida man
OJ has nothing on this dude.
to talk about.
In what might be the slowest high-speed chase in history, a man turned a routine traffic stop into a low-speed chase that left deputies scratching their heads and reaching for the stop sticks. The Flagler County Sheriff's Office, or FCSO...
Now, for the record, those who are watching in the background, This is actually sped up. If you look at how fast the windshield wipers are going from this dash cam, this is actually 1.5 speed. That's how slow this guy was going.
The Flagler County Sheriff's
Putski,
Office said it all started on September 25th when Kyle McNary allegedly kicked his passenger out of a black Kia Sorento at the intersection
Kia!
East Woodland Street and State Road 100 in Bunnell. All right, this is another sheriff posting snarky stuff. This dirtbag has a history of threatening and attacking deputy sheriffs, and during his recent criminal act, he seriously injured a person in a crash, and we wish them a speedy recovery, said Sheriff Rick Staley. But for McNary, it looks like he needs an extended stay at the Green Roof Inn so he doesn't injure anyone else or kill someone with his actions.
Yeah.
Investigators said that when McNary stopped to switch places with his passenger, he ran into the street waving at passing cars. As the passenger attempted to take the driver's seat, McNary kicked him out and sped off, leaving the passenger on the roadside. McNary was then involved in a hit and run about 4 miles away at the intersection of U.S. Route 1 and Otis Stone Who Cares Road. Victim of the crash reported that McNary's SUV stopped abruptly, causing a collision that seriously injured someone. The sheriff's office said McNary was soon spotted driving slowly on US 1 by FCSO deputies and Bunnell police officers. Despite attempts to stop him, McNary continued driving at a snail's pace, even after deputies used stop sticks to deflate one of his tires. Eventually, his SUV got stuck in a ditch because he tried to come into our house.
Yeah.
Dash and body camera footage, long story, shows the entire
Well,
slow
no, because
interaction
last
camera.
week we ended up having to break up our broadcast because EMTs just randomly show up at our house, knocking
Right.
on the door and saying, "Oh, you called 911," and we didn't. And then, just was
Two
it
nights
yesterday?
ago.
2 nights
Friday
ago,
night.
we're just minding our own business, and a couple of cop cars, sheriffs pull up, and then turn around and leave. Nobody
They
got
realized-
out.
And one of them, because we live out in the country, it's pitch black at night.
Yeah.
So this one car was equipped with enough lights to light up a Hollywood stage.
Yeah.
It was crazy.
And we're like, we didn't do nothing. But yeah, they didn't even get out. They didn't say anything. They did nothing. They just turned around and left. I was like, okay. So if it's the same neighbor that they're coming after, I hope they're okay. But they also knocked over my flag that was marking where the ditch was. Because everybody keeps steering toward the ditch. It's like, don't go towards the ditch. I know there's forest on the other side, but there's plenty of room for you over there. Stop driving into the ditch.
Dash
Anyway.
and body camera footage shows the entire slow interaction.
We live an
on
interesting
camera.
life here.
It's not uninteresting. In the pouring rain, deputies gave McNary loud verbal commands, which FCO said he ignored. Of course they did.
Yeah.
After some time, deputies used a shatter ball. What is a shatter ball?
I don't
Sounds
know.
pretty
What
cool.
is a shatter ball?
To break a rear window to gain visibility into the SUV, and McNary...
I think that's just a fancy name for a rock.
Okay. McNary began to comply, exiting the vehicle with his hands up before being handcuffed. And they're
Shatterball.
showing his underwear, wearing white T-shirted redneck butt there in
Yeah.
the picture. McNary was originally
Well, they're
arrested
watching
for
video. You're looking at the picture.
simple battery.
Okay, a police shatterball, also known as shatterball is one word, is a tempered auto glass breach device designed for law enforcement and first responders. It's a 1-inch spiked, non-sharp metal ball that can be deployed by hand from a safe distance to easily breach tempered auto glass. So yes, it is just a fancy rock. They're tiny though. They're like pebbles.
Oh, wow, they are.
Yeah, so used a shatterball to break through the back window of a car to rescue a 1-year-old girl locked inside. The X-ball, similar product, has been used by law enforcement. Okay, yeah, so it looks like what would be at the end of a mace.
Okay.
Kind of, only little.
All right.
But yeah, basically fancy word for a rock.
So he was originally arrested for simple battery, failure to stop or remain at a crash involving serious bodily injury, fleeing and eluding law enforcement, and obstruction without violence. After arrest, he was transported to the hospital following a medical complaint. While at the hospital, they said he threatened and resisted deputies, going so far as to try to bite one of them.
Of course he did.
One of them was his name must have been Frankie. Frankie
That's our
Wanky
cat's
with
name.
a-
He's an arm cat.
Yeah, he likes to do love nibbles,
Narm,
and
narm,
sometimes
narm.
they turn into hate chomps. But he's been
Oh,
better
there's
about
no
later.
hate in his little fuzzy heart.
No. So they threw another couple of books at him.
Yeah.
Battery on a law enforcement officer.
Oh, dear.
Resisting a law enforcement officer with violence, aggravated assault.
Yikes.
Assault on a law enforcement officer, and threat with death or serious bodily harm.
And he wouldn't have
He's
been
being
in as
held
much
without
trouble.
bond, James Bond, and that's the
He
end of
wouldn't have
that.
been in as much trouble if he hadn't done all that. Okay.
I mean, he already had a history. He didn't need to add to it.
Right. He didn't need to add
what's
to
a
it.
clown like that doing behind the wheel of a car anyway?
Well, apparently getting blasterballed. Folks, it's time to head into my favorite part. Here on Counterculture Wise, we may rant, we may rave, but most of all, we go against the current culture because we believe, to the core of our beings, that humans are good and the world is an amazing and beautiful place. At the beginning of our show, we give you news of the weird and wonderful, but that is just the tip of the magnificent iceberg that is our world. We now present news of the wonderfuller. Oh, I love that doggy at the end of that. And this one is about a doggy too.
Hello. Jamie and Tucker have always been inseparable.
And I need to transfer the right video because I messed that all kinds of up. This is not easy, folks. Do not attempt to do this at home. Okay, let's try this again. Here we go.
Hello. Jamie and Tucker have always been inseparable.
His dog's name is
It
Tucker.
probably would have died if it wasn't for Tucker.
When Hurricane Helene barreled through last week, that bond was everything.
It was terrifying.
The two were at home with Jamie's grandparents and sister Gemma, not far from Asheville, when a mudslide slammed into their house.
All of a sudden, I felt the
completely
house
destroyed.
like this, and then I saw walls coming at me.
I was on the couch with Gemma. Then the house mudslided and I face planted into a wall. Like full body went flying.
Grandma ended up on the roof, but Jamie was thrown under the stairs in a pile of rubble about 12 feet deep.
It was scary. I thought I was all alone, no one else. I thought they died.
I had yelled for Jamie and Gemma and Michael. Nobody.
Oh my gosh, did you hear that little boy's voice? I thought they died. I mean, can you imagine being trapped under rubble? And this is before the hurricane even hit. This was the rains ahead of time that nobody was expecting.
Right.
That's why people are like, okay, why did it rain for so hard for so long before the hurricane? And people are, it's kind of suspect given some technologies that exist. I'm not going to go down that rabbit hole, but it does just kind of make you, things make you go,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but the sound of that little boy's voice, I thought they were dead.
Answered me. I didn't know for whatever was dead. And I was screaming my head off.
It felt like forever down there. If I couldn't see sunlight or nothing, I just felt water dripping on me. I thought I was either going to drown or run out of air.
It was raining really hard and just flooding. And I remember seeing the little girl, but I couldn't find the boy. I couldn't find him.
Didn't know where he was.
Because I was screaming on the top of my lungs to my grandma, and she couldn't even hear me.
His best hope? His best friend.
Tucker, he was above me on top of it.
Good
and he
doggy.
Was barking. I heard him whining and barking.
Yeah, he stayed on top of the pile and was just barking away. And I just thought the dog was going crazy. I didn't realize he had located the boy.
Tucker stayed put until firefighters arrived and used chainsaws to dig Jamie out.
Since he has a really big nose and really big ears, I think he could hear me and smell me. I thought he was trying to tell them where I was.
Jamie was flown to Atrium Health Cabarrus, where one nurse is fostering Tucker, and the rest of the team has spent their own money buying the basics for the family who lost everything, including their home.
Oh, I've been paying for it for over 25 years. $4,000 short of paying it off.
Poor woman.
My idea was that it would be, paid off, and however long or short my life is, that we wouldn't have any more mortgage payment. And now it's all gone.
But they're so grateful they have each other and, of course, Tucker. The siblings had used their allowance money to pay for Tucker 3 years ago, saving the dog days before he was to be put down at a shelter.
And he was the last dog there, and when he saw us, he just ran right up to us.
So you rescued Tucker?
Yeah, he rescued me.
Right now, the family really doesn't know where to go. So even though Jamie is healthy, he's medically cleared to go home, the family is actually staying here, the whole family, in this hospital room at Atrium Health Cabarrus. Everything you see here, the entire nursing team chipped in to get them because the family lost everything. Reporting in Concord, Michelle Bowden, WCNC Charlotte.
So the
boy
nurses,
and his dog and a dog and his boy.
The nurses of that hospital adopted this family basically, and that I rescued him and then he rescued me. Oh, the feels. The feels. Oh my goodness. So there is a Habitat for Humanity fundraiser for this little guy.
Wonderful.
And we will have it's called let me go ahead and flash this on over here. It is called the John's Family Recovery Fund. And we will have the link on our website, or you can find it via that. There's their house, what's left of it. I feel so sorry for this woman who's been paying on this house her whole life. I mean, I'm still upset about my Kia. We're one payment away from owing, and it goes kerploop. Imagine having your entire house just obliterated when you're that close to not having mortgage payments anymore. Now she's back to square one. So I hope Habitat is able to help them. Now, just so people understand, they don't give houses away.
Right.
You do still have a loan. You do still have to pay it back. So what I'm hoping is that folks will start a GoFundMe on top of it that will help her actually buy the dang thing, so she's not just starting over from scratch, because obviously she's got a huge heart. She's taking care of her grandkids. And thank God for Tucker. Thank God for
Tucker. Good boy.
Good doggy.
Good doggy.
Folks, it's been a lot of fun. We've had a blast. I really enjoy doing this. Please head on over to Counterculture USD again. Give us a little love. And, if you're watching on YouTube or even listening on YouTube or any other place, just kind of give a nice gentle little massage to the like button. You don't have to smash it or any of the stuff, people. Let's be nice to our like button. Let's just give it a sweet little pat on its cute little hiney. And, if you're anywhere else, give us lots of stars, like, share, subscribe, do all the things.
All of the things.
We will see you.
Including that one.
Including that one. And we will see you next week.
Counterculture-wise is a Stormcat production.
Thank you for joining our growing family of listeners. All links from the show are available on our website, counterculturewise.com. Find our archives on any of your favorite podcast hosts.
We engage in satire, commentary, and generally laugh at the ridiculousness of our crumbling society. Our only medical or financial advice is to not follow any financial or medical advice given by podcasters.
Our animations, interviews, Holy Crap segment, and other videos are put out on BitChute and Rumble, and only in part on YouTube because they hate free speech.
Our show is entirely funded by listeners like you. Visit our ever-expanding merch store or our Subscribe Star, where you can get outtakes, extra videos, and sneak peeks.
If you would like to be a guest on our program, feel free to contact us via our website. Just click on the link at the top that says, "Be a guest on our show."
For more fun and cat pics, please visit our Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram. For complaints about our show, please fill out the ID10T form on our website, and we will give it the attention it deserves.
Meanwhile, no matter how cruel the world may be around you, always remember the importance of kindness. Be kind to each other, be kind to animals, and be kind to yourself. See you next week.